Chapter 14:16. A day later. The great fiendish demons had solemn expressions. Something went wrong. The plan did not go according to plan. The humans have yet to be killed and are still alive and kicking. Instead, it was us fiendish demons that suffered countless casualties. More than 1,000,000 fiendish demons have died. A great fiendish demon said. Due to Xiaoping's interference and timely rescue, more than 1,000,000 fiendish demons had died. It also minimized the losses of the 5 major sect's disciples and foiled the fiendish demons' plans. They had planned to kill all the humans in a day, but they never expected that 1,000,000 fiendish demons would fail to kill many. It made them extremely frustrated and felt that something unexpected had happened. So what if 1,000,000 fiendish demons died? They are just low-level fiendish demons. It doesn't matter how many die. That's not the problem. We can only conceal the power of the heavenly secret list for 3 days. Once the 3 days are up, the humans will definitely discover something fishy. When that happens, we won't be able to hide it anymore. Indeed, if we don't destroy the humans in 3 days, all our efforts will be in vain. Once those human elders discover that we've done something, we'll have to escape or else we'll die. The fiendish demons discussed fervently. Who was it that foiled our plans? More than 1,000,000 fiendish demons attacked the humans at the same time. There was no lack of fiendish demons at the true fire realm among them. How could the weak humans withstand it? Some fiendish demons were puzzled. Even fiendish demons of the same level had an overwhelming advantage. Furthermore, their numbers were several times that of the humans. How could they withstand it? Yet, they failed to destroy the weak humans and instead had 1,000,000 fiendish demons slain. It was ridiculous, and there had to be an important reason behind it. The human who foiled our plans seems to be called Xiaoping. It's said that he is a disciple of a sage and a peerless genius among humans. His body contains infinite potential and he wields the power of a deviant flame. He is the nemesis of fiendish demons. Alone, he killed more than 70% of the fiendish demons. He is extremely ferocious. He also has a dharma treasure known as infinite puppets. It can split into 600,000 undying puppets. That has caused us to lose our advantage in numbers, and many fiendish demons have died tragically. Furthermore, the puppets are extremely difficult to deal with and are indestructible. Even if they are injured, they can rapidly recover with dharmic powers. That dharma treasure has brought us great trouble. Damn human Xiaoping, he actually dares to destroy our plan. He must die. As long as we kill that human Xiaoping, the rest of the humans are nothing to be afraid of. We can kill them all within an hour. It seems like this human is a great threat. He might even become a saint in the future. We must get rid of this threat as soon as possible. Otherwise, if another powerful human cultivator appears, it would be terrible. Damn it, if it wasn't for the fact that we can't make a move and have to maintain the demon yin-yang reversal formation, we would have slapped this human to death long ago. How could we allow this Xiaoping to be so arrogant? Many fiendish demons gritted their teeth. They were extremely resentful towards the human who had foiled their plans. Some great fiendish demons even wanted to personally take action to squash the troublemaker, Xiaoping, to death. However, they were maintaining the formation and maintaining it at all times. They couldn't do anything even if they wanted to, so they could only endure it for now. What should we do? Now that these humans have gathered together, their threat has increased greatly. If we don't deal with these humans in 2 days, our plan will be ruined. A fiendish demon said in a low voice. For the sake of this plan, they had sacrificed more than half of their wealth. If they failed just like that, they would not be able to accept it. Maybe this is not necessarily a bad thing. A great fiendish demon's eyes showed a cunning light. If this group of humans were scattered everywhere and hid in a valley, it would be difficult for us to find this group of humans even if we wanted to. But now they are actually reckless and gathered together. This is simply giving us a chance to catch them all in one fell swoop. They are courting death. Instead, it felt that this was a great opportunity to annihilate that group of humans. If that group of humans were scattered, it might be more difficult for them to kill this group of humans. The problem is that this group of humans is not simple. Although we killed a lot of them before, the number of people left has reached more than 200,000. It's not so easy to kill them all. Don't forget, there is still that shit stirrer Xiaoping. Some fiendish demons felt that this matter was not very optimistic. What are you afraid of? 1,000,000 fiendish demons are not the opponents of that group of humans. Then what about 5,000,000, 10,000,000 fiendish demons? Can they crush this group of humans? Some fiendish demons sneered and didn't put Xiaoping and others in their eyes at all. In this place, their fiendish demons had the absolute advantage. That's right, no matter how powerful that group of humans are, it's a fool's dream to resist tens of millions of fiendish demons. As long as I give the order, I can immediately summon 30 million fiendish demons to besiege that group of humans. It's a pity that the demon continent is too big. The fiendish demons in other corners can't come here without a month. Only the fiendish demons in this corner can be driven. Otherwise it's not difficult to mobilize 1 billion fiendish demons. Haha, don't need 1 billion, 30 million fiendish demons can kill this group of humans. The demon continent doesn't have much, but there are a lot of cannon fodder. Many fiendish demons sneered again and again. They were sure of victory. What's the death of 1 million fiendish demons? It's just a child's play. With a single order, 30 million fiendish demons could be gathered. That human Xiaoping was indeed powerful, invincible in the same rank, and even able to challenge beyond ranks, easily killing hundreds of thousands of fiendish demons, but 30 million fiendish demons standing still and letting that kid kill them, I'm afraid he won't be able to kill them all. In a place like the demon continent, they could easily mobilize an army and kill this group of humans. Whoosh whoosh whoosh. Soon, the great fiendish demons passed down the order, asking their tribes to immediately mobilize soldiers and warriors, gather together, and annihilate the new disciples of the 5 major sects in one fell swoop, killing them all. On the other hand, in a valley. At this moment, the disciples of the 5 major sects were gathered together, looking at Xiaoping, all of them extremely sullen. Before, they swore that they would not ask Xiaoping for help even if they were beaten to death. But now, in order to survive, not only did they beg Xiaoping humbly, but they were also extorted by this bastard of 20 10,000-year-old elixirs. They felt that they had lost all their face and they couldn't lift their heads. Especially Huayang, Shiranchang, Li Puwang and the others. They were arrogant people, thinking that they would not lose to anyone. Now, in order to survive, they actually asked the enemy for help. This was a disgrace. Report. At this moment, more than a dozen scouts hurried back from outside. The situation is critical, the fiendish demons are moving. They have gathered, and their number is more than 30 million. They want to concentrate their forces to destroy us. Please make a decision as soon as possible, senior brothers. They all looked at the only backbone, Xiaoping, and wanted to know how Xiaoping would decide. Chapter 14-17. 30 million demons? How did they gather so quickly? There must be a big demon controlling them. They want to annihilate us. What should we do? That's 30 million demons. How can we stop them? Hearing this, Huayang and the rest's expressions changed drastically. The thought of being blackmailed by Xiaoping disappeared. If they couldn't survive the 30 million demons, everything would be for naught. Many disciples were in despair. Facing 100 to 200,000 demons, they already felt that their future was bleak. Now that they were facing 30 million demons, death was certain. It's over. We're dead for sure. There's no way we can survive. That's 30 million demons. One spit from each of them is enough to drown us. There's no way we can fight. The group of disciples felt their hearts fall into the abyss. This was a situation of certain death. It's not that there's no way. If we can find a way to let the sect elders know about the situation here and activate the power of the Tianji list, we might be able to break out of this predicament. Stop dreaming. If there's really a way to let the sect elders know about the situation here, we would have done it long ago. Why do we have to hide from those demons? Who doesn't know that once the power of the Tianji list is activated, we can instantly teleport out of the demonic continent? The problem is that the demons have already thought of this. No power can be transmitted out. The disciples of the 5 great sects shook their heads. Even Huayang and the rest were at their wits' end. The difference in strength was too great. Brother Xia, do you have any ideas? Meng Yunxiao lifted his head and looked at Xiaoping. Whoosh whoosh whoosh. The remaining disciples of the 5 great sects all looked at Xiaoping. They also felt that if they had a chance to survive, it would be with Xiaoping. Although this bastard had angered them half to death and was very arrogant, in the face of the threat of the demons, it didn't matter. They could let go of any hatred. It's not that there's no way. Xiaoping touched his chin and said this. What? Huayang and the rest were overjoyed. They hurriedly asked, Brother Xia, what is it? If there was a chance to survive, they wouldn't give up. After all, who would want to die like this and become food for the demons? There's only one way to kill the 30 million demons. Set up a formation and kill all of them. Xiaoping's eyes glinted. Set up a formation? Could it be that Brother Xia knows how to set up a formation? Meng Yunxiao and the others' eyelids twitched. It wasn't strange to know array formations, but to set them up and become proficient in them was very difficult. After all, if they wanted to understand array formations, they would have to spend a large amount of time to study it. However, they were all geniuses of various sects and clans. They were busy enough with their martial arts and mystic arts. Where would they have the time to study such minor details like array formations? Perhaps if they lived a little longer, they would have the time to study all kinds of array formation knowledge. The problem was that they were all new disciples, and not many of them knew how to set up array formations. A little. Xia Ping said modestly. Fuck, this bastard was indeed a monster. The corners of Meng Yunxiao and the rest's mouths twitched. Who knew how much he had comprehended about formations? Ordinary people spent a lot of time cultivating martial arts, but this kid actually had the mood to study the heaven and earth array formation. Fortunately, they still had a chance of survival. Brother Xia, what should we do? Thinking of this, Meng Yunxiao immediately asked. At a time like this, they could only try everything they could. Just now, I observed the earth veins within 10,000 miles and found that there are many supervolcanoes here. There is a large amount of lava flowing underground, and there is an abundance of fire energy, Xia Ping said. Everyone nodded. This place was indeed full of active volcanoes. After all, this was the Abyss continent. It was like an apocalyptic world with disasters everywhere. Also, the lava that these active volcanoes spewed out was extremely terrifying. It was extremely hot and could burn bones and bodies. Even the volcanic dust was poisonous. Demons were afraid of it and didn't dare to get too close. So this place is very suitable for setting up the Vermilion Bird Trigram Fire Formation. Xia Ping spoke of a powerful heaven and earth spirit array. This was the legacy of the spirit array that he had obtained. Once it is set up successfully, it can immediately activate the flame energy here and burn everything within 10,000 miles. It will burn all 30 million demons to death and bury them here. Brother Xia, what do you want to do? We will definitely follow your orders. Li Puwang didn't want to waste time. Right now, he just needed to listen to Xia Ping's orders. Xia Ping nodded. First, hand over all the jade stones you have. I will use them to make array foundations and carve talismans. After that, I will search for the dragon veins and set up the array. Okay. Li Puwang and the others nodded without hesitation. In order to survive, jade stones were nothing. Even if they had to hand over all their treasures, it wouldn't be a big deal. Walala, immediately, everyone took out large amounts of jade stones and threw them on the ground. Immediately, they piled up like a mountain, emitting dense spiritual energy. Not bad. Xia Ping's eyes lit up. Actually, to him, this was an extremely rare opportunity to practice. He wanted to see how much knowledge he had about arrays and how powerful they were. He would use these demons to test his methods. He immediately picked up the jade stones and used his chi to carve them. Mysterious talismans were immediately carved on them. Immediately, the jade stones turned into incomparably mysterious array foundations, emitting strange waves. Some people looked over wanting to learn a thing or two. Perhaps it would be beneficial. But after watching for a while, they suddenly felt dizzy. It was as if an endless amount of information was pouring into their brains. Mysterious symbols filled the sky, but they couldn't understand anything. It was like a 3-year-old reading a calculus equation. They didn't know what was going on. Even Li Puwang and the others didn't understand at all. After watching for a while, they gave up on trying to learn. Array knowledge was so broad and profound. Even if they were watching from the side, they still wouldn't understand what was going on. In just 2 hours, Xia Ping had finished carving the array foundations. Large amounts of jade stones flashed with strange and mysterious waves. These symbols seemed to merge into one, resonating with the heavens and earth. Okay, take these jade stones and bury them at the 108 nodes of the chi channels. Hide the energy waves. These are the nodes of the array. We can't afford to lose them. Xia Ping told Li Puwang and the others how to set up the array. Once the 108 nodes of the chi channels are set up, they can communicate with the power of the earth and merge into one, exploding with the power of the heavens and earth. Move quickly. Otherwise, when the demons come, we're done for. He ordered the disciples of the 5 sections. Yes. The disciples of the 5 great sects immediately spread out and willingly accepted Xia Ping's orders. They did not show any signs of resistance. Chapter 14:18. 2 hours later, under Xia Ping's guidance, the disciples of the 5 great sects quickly found all 108 chi vein nodes within a radius of 5,000 kilometers. Then they dug holes and placed down the spell formation bases. As soon as the jade appeared in the chi vein nodes, they melted, turning into mysterious symbols that merged with the earth veins. It's done. Retreat. Xia Ping gave the order, and the disciples of the 5 great sects retreated. At this moment he stood in the center of the matrix, his hands forming seals. His divine sense spread out, covering a radius of 5,000 kilometers, and he could sense the 108 earth veins. Deep within the earth veins, there were 108 dots of light flashing, resonating with each other. They seemed to have become one with the earth veins, becoming the spirits of the earth veins. It was like an ownerless treasure that had gained a spirit. Originally, the earth veins had no consciousness, but after gaining a trace of intelligence, they could control the flow of the earth veins. Rumble, under the control of Xiaoping's divine sense, the 108 earth veins began to move, transforming heaven and earth. Rumbling sounds could be heard, like enormous dragons flipping through the air. In the space of a few breaths of time, an ancient, profound spell formation was formed. In the depths of the earth, the endless lava energy and the omnipresent flame energy rapidly gathered at the center of the formation under the guidance of the formation. Faintly, the marks of the matrix began to appear like marks of the great Tao. When they came together, it was like the birth of a vermilion bird. Amazing. Is this the power of a matrix? I can feel the earth veins in a radius of 5,000 kilometers moving. The laws of heaven and earth are being forcefully twisted. Large amounts of firepower are gathering together, and the center of the matrix is brewing with incredible power. Yang was shocked. He came from the Five Elements sect, which was the most knowledgeable sect among the 5 great sections. He knew a thing or two about matrices, and naturally knew how amazing it was to be able to change the movements of the earth veins. It really is terrifying. In this matrix, no one is a match for Brother Xia. Really is amazing. Brother Xia's martial power was monstrous enough, and now he set up a matrix and can control the power of heaven and earth. He's already undefeatable. That's enough. Without this power, how could we defend against 30 million demons? It's all up to Brother Xia now. The disciples of the 5 great sects sighed. They could also feel the changes in the earth veins. The spiritual energy was surging, as if it had the power to change the world. When this array formation was completely formed, Xiaoping formed a seal with his hands. The earth trembled and the tumbling origin energy immediately disappeared. A vermilion bird that was about to be born also calmed down and slowly absorbed the energy of the abyss lava. He completely concealed the power of the vermilion bird trigram fire array, concealing all the energy fluctuations. Otherwise, if the demons found out, they would not dare to attack. Xiaoping didn't want to see that happen. He wanted to finish this in one go. Moreover, he didn't know how many monster cores he would obtain from killing these 30 million fiendish demons. Now that everything was ready, all they had to do was wait for the demons to attack. Several hours later, under the orders of the many great fiendish demons, the fiendish demons within hundreds of thousands of kilometers gathered together. The number of fiendish demons that appeared exceeded the great fiendish demons' expectations. It was not just 30 million but 50 million. The 50 million fiendish demons also charged towards Xiaoping and the rest. In the abyss, the aura of humans was like a firefly in the darkness. There was no way to conceal it. Furthermore, with the disciples of the 5 major sects gathered together, it was like a gathering of countless fireflies. They were as blinding as light bulbs. There was no need for them to search. All they needed to do was charge at the aura emitted by the humans. Oh no, the fiendish demons are coming. Quick run. Immediately inform our senior brothers and junior brothers to retreat. 50 million fiendish demons have appeared. We can't fight them head-on. Let's escape this place quickly. In the endless mountains, human scouts appeared one after another. They also sensed the massive and terrifying aura of the fiendish demons. They panicked and quickly fled into the distance. It was as though they had no choice but to flee. And the aura of these humans naturally could not be concealed from the group of fiendish demons. There are actually humans and insects gathering intelligence. Feel free to investigate. We have 50 million fiendish demons. We can easily crush them. Look at these humans. Their faces are pale from fright. Their legs are trembling and some even peed their pants. How can they not pee their pants? When our fiendish demon army is mobilized, not even a blade of grass will remain. These humans are just ants. We can wipe them out with a single breath. We still can't underestimate these humans. There was once a million fiendish demons mobilized, but they were all killed by these humans. Careful my ass. It's just a little over 200,000 humans. So what if they're strong? Can they stop our fiendish demon army? That's right. There's no need to be careless at all. We just have to kill our way through. This is a war of attrition. What a pity. I wanted to spar with these humans. To think that it's just a massacre. How boring. I'm rather interested in human flesh. I wonder what it tastes like. Chase after them immediately. Don't let these humans escape. Kill these human spies first and eat their flesh. Countless fiendish demons charged forward. It was a dance of demons. They did not know much about battle formations and just charged forward like a swarm of bees. Although it was simple, it was extremely ferocious. Relying on the strong physiques, brutal methods, and huge numbers of the fiendish demons, they would often slaughter planets after planets in the ancient times. They easily destroyed the so-called interstellar warships. At this moment, the human scouts who were initially panicking sped up and communicated calmly with their spiritual senses. They're here. The fiendish demons have taken the bait. Stupid fiendish demons. They actually charged forward without thinking. Aren't they worried that it's a trap? They have 50 million fiendish demons. They are very confident and think that they can kill us. In the face of absolute power, any tricks are a joke. That's true. But do they have absolute power? Cut the crap. Don't let those fiendish demons discover us. Lure them to the center of the formation immediately. Also, don't get careless and die. Don't worry. We are the fastest among the 5 sections. Those fiendish demons can't catch us. The human scouts were very relaxed. However, they still pretended that they were being chased by the fiendish demons and rushed in the direction of Xiaoping's group. The fiendish demons were even more excited. They could sense a large number of humans gathering in the distance. These were all their food. How could they remain calm? They had lost all rationality. Are they here? Just a little more. Just a little more. In the distance, Xiaoping stood in the center of the formation. His spiritual senses could sense that the 50 million fiendish demons had completely entered the range of his formation. Chapter 14:19. Deep in the continent, a group of great fiendish demons were chatting idly. The 50 million fiendish demons have finally gathered. They are now charging at the humans. A great fiendish demon sensed the situation far away, but due to the great distance, he could only sense a tiny portion of it. How long do you think the humans can last? Asked a great fiendish demon. What a joke. The humans will be pulverized immediately when 50 million fiendish demons crush them. How long can they last? I'm afraid they will be trampled to death in less than 3 minutes, said a fiendish demon with a sneer. He felt disdain for the human strength. They were not worth mentioning at all. You can't say that. There are still some capable people among that group of humans. Maybe they have some trump cards. I think they can hold on for 10 minutes without dying. After all, sometimes ants can burst out with some astonishing power when they are about to die. Another fiendish demon shook his head. He felt that things might not be that simple. The human named Xiaoping did not appear to be so easily killed by the fiendish demons. Ants are ants after all. How much strength can they unleash even if they unleash it? Do they think they can ascend to the heavens? That is indeed the case. We can just watch the show from here. Very soon, these humans will be completely annihilated. Let's wait. There will be good news soon. If not for the fact that I can't attack, I would have long killed these humans. Many of the great fiendish demons had a nonchalant attitude. They believed that it was only a matter of time before the humans died. They would be wiped out in 10 minutes at most. After all, the difference in strength was just too great. It was so great that the humans had no room for resistance. In fact, it was not only the great fiendish demons that had such thoughts. Even the army of 50 million fiendish demons shared the same thoughts. They were supercilious and thought nothing of Xiaoping and company. I found them. The humans are hiding in the valley. What foolish humans. Why aren't they fleeing when they see us? They are actually hiding in the valley motionlessly. Do they really think we won't discover their existence? Perhaps they have discovered us, but they are already in despair. After all, our army of 50 million fiendish demons is here. We have sealed off the lands. Even if they want to escape, where can they escape to? Strike while they are down. The great fiendish demons have given the order. Although capturing them alive is the best option, if push comes to shove, we are to kill all the humans. We will eradicate any future threats to prevent any accidents. Bastard humans, your doomsday is here. Countless demons rushed over. Dark clouds covered the sky, and demonic chi filled the air. It was as if the entire area had turned into a demonic domain of sin. Countless demons were howling. I've been waiting for you for a long time. Die all of you. Vermilion bird trigram fire formation. Right at this moment, Xiaoping roared and performed a spell, immediately activating the formation. Instantly, everything within a radius of 10,000 kilometers trembled. A huge, ancient formation appeared from the depths of the earth, and the spiritual energy of the 108 earth veins gathered together. Deep underground there were countless huge volcanoes. Boundless flame energy gathered at the center of the array formation. The earth trembled as if there was a super earthquake. What happened? What happened? Countless demons were taken aback. They instinctively felt a tinge of fear, as though a great catastrophe was about to befall them. Rumble, within a radius of 10,000 kilometers, 108 fire veins erupted. Deep in the void, flames gathered with Li fire energy, condensing into divine vermilion birds. This was the sovereign of fire, reborn from the ashes. The moment the Li fire vermilion bird appeared, its wings spanned 30,000 feet. It was huge and every feather was condensed from Li fire. Its body emitted scorching flames that could burn everything. Its body emanated an ancient, destructive, sacred, ferocious aura. It was an ancient ferocious bird, and mysterious flame runes flowed on its body. It was like a divine beast that walked out of chaos. Although it was not the real vermilion bird, it had the power of a vermilion bird's projection. It was the heaven and earth power condensed from countless flames within a radius of 10,000 kilometers. It was terrifying. And it was not just one vermilion bird, but 108. They spread out and charged at the fiendish demon army ferociously. We're doomed. We fell for the humans' ambush. Array formation. This is a famous heaven and earth array formation of the humans. It can control the power of nature. Despicable humans, let's fight one-on-one if you have the guts. What kind of hero are you to set up an array formation? The fiendish demons cried out in fear. They felt a fatal danger. Kill. Xia Ping was unmoved. He controlled the power of the array formation and attacked the fiendish demons. One by one, the Li fire vermilion birds pounced over and spat out flames that were tens of kilometers long. These flames came from all directions, covering a radius of 10,000 kilometers and burning fiercely. These flames were not ordinary flames either. They were the Nanming Li fire from the depths of the void, one of the deviant flames of heaven and earth. They could burn all living things and corrode demonic qi. They were the nemesis of all fiendish demons. Rumble, a large number of fiendish demons were killed by the flames. Just a single touch would cause half of their bodies to explode. In fact, when the flames touched their bodies, they were burnt to ashes in a few breaths' time. With a single strike, millions of fiendish demons were killed. Be it Mystic Realm fiendish demons, Treasure Refinement Realm fiendish demons, or True Fire Realm fiendish demons, none of them could escape death. In fact, even Golden Elixir Realm fiendish demons would be severely injured if they were here. This was the might of heaven and earth. Humans could not defend against it. Run. Hurry and run. This is the territory of the humans' array formation. We can't fight them head-on. If we fight here, we're not fighting against humans. We're fighting against the heaven and earth. Hurry and run. We can't. We can't escape at all. We're too deep in. We're already in the center of the array formation. Let's fight it out with that human. Once we kill the person in charge of the array formation will collapse on its own. One by one, the fiendish demons went berserk. Under the threat of death, they knew that there was no way they could escape. All of them charged towards the center of the array formation, trying to kill Xia Ping and destroy the array formation. You're here? How foolish. You want to destroy the array formation? Have you considered your own capabilities? Come on, Nanming Li fire diagram. Xia Ping sneered. He had already expected the fiendish demons to go berserk at the end. He formed a seal with both hands and immediately activated the most terrifying power of the array formation. Boom. Immediately, a huge scroll appeared in the depths of the sky. 108 vermilion birds immediately merged into the scroll, turning into an incomparably huge vermilion bird that spanned thousands of miles. This vermilion bird stood in the void and turned into a huge scarlet cloud that looked like a burning cloud. In the depths of the cloud, one after another, talismans revolved like chaos. One by one, the flames condensed and fell from the sky. Like a million cannonballs, they landed among the group of fiendish demons. Bam, bam, bam. When a flame lotus fell from the sky and landed on the ground, it immediately exploded. The shockwaves spread for hundreds of miles. In an instant, tens of thousands of fiendish demons were blown to death and torn into pieces. The power of the million flame lotus falling was extremely terrifying. It was as if a million nuclear bombs had exploded. Under such an explosion, 50 million fiendish demons were as fragile as babies. Chapter 1420. My God, is this the power of a matrix? It's terrifying. In the distance, many disciples saw this. They were safe in the center of the matrix. It is powerful indeed. 50 million demons. How terrifying is that? But after entering the matrix, they are like pigs and dogs. They are easily killed without any resistance. This is the power of a matrix. When it reaches a high level, it can turn something rotten into something magical. Can even recreate the world. But it is extremely difficult to learn a matrix. Without talent, you can't even get started. Yeah, a large matrix like this can't be learned without hundreds of years of hard work. And you also need talent. Without talent, you can only learn for 1,000 years. Damn, how old is this Xia Ping? He's been learning since he was in his mother's womb. That's insane. I can only say that Xia Ping is an absolute monster. Others need hundreds of years to learn, but he can learn it in a few years. He also learned many martial arts techniques. Damn, he learned it too. Comparing oneself to others is infuriating. So what if he's a genius? The disciples of the 5 sects were frightened by the power of the vermilion bird trigram fire matrix. They had never seen the power of a matrix. 50 million demons. How terrifying was that? If it was on a planet, it would be a demon disaster. There would be countless deaths. But now, a great formation rose up, burning 50 million demons to death. It was terrifying beyond compare. Hua Yang, Shiranchang, Li Pewang, and the others were completely convinced. If Xia Ping wasn't here, they would have been eaten by the demons. 2 hours later, 50 million demons had been burned to death. No matter how they struggled, how they howled. Some even rushed to Xia Ping and tried to behead him. But it was useless. Before the vermilion bird trigram fire matrix, not a single demon could survive. They were all burned to ashes. All that was left of them were their demon cores. At this moment, the vermilion bird trigram fire matrix covered an area of 10,000 miles. It had become hell. Originally, there were countless mountains in this region, but now they were all gone. They were flattened and turned into a plain. There were potholes everywhere, and the ground was burning with Nanmingli fire. At the same time, countless deep ravines appeared on the ground. Magma flowed out from each ravine. The earth cracked, densely packed, and thick smoke rose up. It was like the scene of doomsday. The surrounding temperature rose to the extreme, reaching several thousand degrees. Even steel would melt, already becoming a place of danger. Success. Xia Ping gripped his fists tightly. In order to activate this formation, even though his powers were extremely strong, he had expended more than half of them. He was extremely weak right now. However, his eyes shone with excitement. 50 million demons had died under his hands. Just what kind of magnificent feat was this? If word of this got out, who knew how many people would be scared to death? He also deeply understood the power of the formation. It was indeed a supreme method for the weak to defeat the strong. Even an expert who was a few levels higher than him would be killed by the power of the formation. Whoosh! He grabbed with his hand, and the countless demon cores scattered on the ground quickly entered the space of the pearl of mountains and rivers. 50 million demon cores piled up together was like a small mountain. It was extremely shocking. And these demon cores were also a rather terrifying amount of wealth. They could be converted into large amounts of energy. Master is really amazing. The green bull, the artifact spirit of the pearl of mountains and rivers, was extremely impressed. It had never seen a treasure refinement realm cultivator who could easily kill 50 million demons. It was simply a legend. Hee, ignorant stupid bull. Corinne was extremely disdainful. It had been shocked by Xia Ping's achievements every time. It had long since become accustomed to it. At this moment, many great demons also knew about this matter. Their expressions were extremely ugly. Who was it? Who said that 50 million demons could kill this group of humans? What's going on now? Not only did none of those humans die, but all the soldiers we had to send were killed. A great fiendish demon gritted his teeth furiously. It's all that human Xia Ping's fault. Another great demon roared angrily, if not for this kid's proficiency in array formations and setting up a large array to connect to the earth veins within a radius of 5,000 miles, 50 million demons wouldn't have been buried. That human Xia Ping must die. We must kill him. It was extremely angry at the human who had repeatedly destroyed their plans. Its killing intent was boiling. Cut the crap. I didn't expect them to have an array formation master. This is our mistake. A great demon said calmly, it's useless to pursue who's at fault. The most important thing now is how to make up for this strategic mistake. You should know that there aren't many demons in the vicinity. They all died in this battle. Even if we can mobilize demons from other places, it will take at least 3 days. But we don't have that much time. It looked around at the surrounding great demons, indicating the seriousness of this matter. There's no other way. Let me do it. A poison demon stood up. Its strength had reached the lightning tribulation realm. It was extremely terrifying. Its body was filled with a terrifying black poisonous mist. This black poisonous mist seemed to be able to corrode even space. Its voice was like thunder, resonating with heaven and earth. How do we do it? Now we need to maintain the Skyfiend Yin-Yang reversal array. Without you, the entire array will collapse. Do you think we won't die fast enough? A great demon said unhappily. There's no need to maintain this array at all times. It's just lacking a great demon. As long as we are willing to pay the price, we can make it take action for a period of time. A great demon's eyes flashed with a cold glint. It indicated that if great demons like them were willing to pay a certain price to maintain the array, it was not impossible to make a great demon take action. How long do you need? Many great fiendish demons looked at the poison fiend. 10 seconds is enough. 3 seconds to travel through the void, 1 second to kill these humans and another 3 seconds to return. That leaves us with 3 seconds to rest. Poison demon at the lightning tribulation realm said arrogantly. The great demons present did not doubt poison demon's words. He indeed had the strength to do so. A lightning tribulation realm fiendish demon was just too powerful. The group of humans was nothing more than puny specks. Even though there were more than 200,000 humans, a lightning tribulation realm fiendish demon could instantly wipe them out with a single palm strike. They were unwilling to take action previously because doing so required them to pay a certain price. If they could kill the humans by controlling the low-level fiendish demons, why would they need to take action? But it was different now. The group of humans had already wiped out all the low-level fiendish demons. They had no choice but to take action. Alright, do it as soon as possible. The great demons exchanged looks. They were all decisive people and immediately made up their minds. Alright, I'll kill those humans now. Chapter 14:21. Beep beep. At that moment, Xia Ping suddenly heard the system's alarm. Warning, a strong killing intent is targeting the host. A Thunder Tribulation Realm Great Demon is about to attack. Host, please be careful and retreat quickly. What? Xia Ping's eyes revealed a cold glint. A great demon was actually attacking in person. Wasn't it said that great demons of this level couldn't attack at will? What was going on now? He couldn't figure it out, but it didn't prevent him from knowing that the situation was very dangerous. If a Thunder Tribulation Realm Great Demon attacked, then they would be killed in a breath's time. That was because a Thunder Tribulation Realm Great Demon was too terrifying. A single strike could shatter a planet into dust. I have to think of a way. Xia Ping immediately thought of the Sage Talisman he had. If he wanted to resist a Thunder Tribulation Realm Great Demon, he could only succeed with this trump card. Moreover, once he used the Sage Talisman, he could also break the Demon Continent's array formation. It was killing 2 birds with 1 stone. No, maybe it's not that bad yet. Xia Ping's eyes flickered. Although the situation was extremely dangerous, he still found a chance to fight back. The Sage Talisman was his trump card. He wouldn't use it unless it was absolutely necessary. He looked up at the 3 suns in the sky. No, it should be the Sun Demon. This Sun Demon was different from ordinary demons. Because they were too powerful, their intelligence wasn't very high. Their brains were blinded by love, like wild beasts that only knew how to act on instinct. Even for many demons, the Sun Demon was a rather terrifying existence, like a disaster. Usually, it was fine when the Sun Demon was asleep, but once it woke up, the demons would suffer heavy casualties. Perhaps he could use the Sun Demon's power to drive wolves to devour tigers. The so-called enemy of an enemy was actually a friend. Of course, awakening the Sun Demon wasn't all good. No matter what, the Sun Demon only acted on instinct and didn't distinguish between friend and foe. Once it woke up, it would instantly fly into a rage and start killing. Even he would be in danger. But he didn't care about that now. Treasured artifact Moon Shooting Bow. Xia Ping immediately took out this Dharma treasure and knocked an arrow. His magic power condensed into an arrow, and a terrifying aura brewed. The infernal golden crow bloodline in his body boiled. With his body as the center, the area within hundreds of miles trembled. A heaven and earth array immediately appeared under his feet, and the surrounding vast abyss demonic chi poured into his body. Brother Xia, what are you doing? Meng Yunxiao and the rest were confused. Wasn't the war already over? Why did Xia Ping look as if he was facing a formidable enemy, and even drew his bow and arrow? They looked at Xia Ping in confusion. However, Xia Ping ignored Meng Yunxiao and the others. He focused his mind and spread his divine sense outwards, extending tens of thousands of kilometers into the sky, all the way to the body of the bright sun demon. Immediately he could feel 3 extremely evil auras emanating from the bright sun demon's body. They were dark, deep, evil, and chaotic. It was like a combination of darkness, a true ultimate monster. This was more terrifying than all the demons he had ever seen. This was the final destination of all demons, the supreme existence. The abyssal energy contained in its body was more than 10,000 times that of ordinary demons. Martial path divine ability, head-piercing 7 arrows art. In an instant Xiaoping shot out 3 arrows. His consciousness had locked onto the 3 glorious sun demons as well. He channeled his terrifying powers into the moon-shooting skill and gave it his all. However, the moon-shooting bow was only a bejeweled weapon. It might be a decent Dharma treasure in the cloud realm, but it was too weak for the current Xiaoping. When his powers were pushed to the limit, the moon-shooting bow could not withstand the immense power. With a crack it shattered. The instant the arrows were released, they were reduced to dust. However, this also completed the moon-shooting bow's mission. Whoosh, whoosh, whoosh. 3 arrows were shot out silently. They contained terrifying destructive power and the power of the golden crow of hell's flames. They spun continuously, traversing thousands of kilometers. Moreover, their speed was getting faster and faster. One could not even see the trajectory of the arrows. In just a second, the 3 arrows landed on the 3 glorious sun demons as if they were going to pierce through their bodies. In an instant, the 3 glorious sun demons woke up. Even though they were in a deep sleep, their bodies were instinctively on guard. They immediately felt a terrifying killing intent spreading through their bodies. Dong. The 3 arrows landed on the 3-headed sun demon's body, bursting with terrifying power. The deviant flame burned, instantly causing the sun demon to suffer some damage. Although this damage was nothing to the glorious sun demons, it completely infuriated them. Moreover, the power of the golden crow of hell's flames in the arrows seemed to be their nemesis. The burning pain caused them to go completely crazy. Who is it? Who has the guts to disturb my slumber? Die. Anyone who dares to disturb me shall die. Hungry, so hungry. I'm going crazy from hunger. The 3 glorious sun demons woke up immediately and opened their eyes. As soon as they opened their eyes, the 3 suns that had been in the sky above the demonic continent immediately revealed their huge black pupils. In an instant they emitted violent, chaotic, destructive, and violent auras. This aura instantly covered the entire demonic continent. The void trembled and every demon could feel it. This was a supreme existence causing countless demons to tremble. They all knew that the supreme predator, the pinnacle of all demons, the glorious sun demons, had awakened. The 3 suns that were in the sky at the moment weren't 3 suns, but 3 huge black eyeballs that shot out beams of black light at the same time. They swept across the entire demonic continent like lasers and pierced through the void. They were furious and tried to find the existence that wanted to kill them. At the same time their bloodlines also throbbed. It seemed that the existence contained enough energy to evolve them to a supreme level. That mysterious enemy would be of great benefit to them. Sensing this they went berserk. Damn Xiaoping, are you crazy? Why did you use arrows to kill the glorious sun demon? Do you think we won't die fast enough? Meng Yunxiao and the others cursed as they stared at Xiaoping, dumbfounded. They had been wondering what Xiaoping was trying to do. They didn't expect him to be courting death by shooting the glorious sun demons. Now, not only was the glorious sun demon not dead, it was also enraged and completely awakened. A terrifying demonic aura brewed in the sky. This was the awakening of a peerless beast, the arrival of a calamity on the demonic continent. Compared to the attack of 50 million demons, the threat of the glorious sun demons was undoubtedly more terrifying. Once they were discovered by the glorious sun demons, they would die for sure. Meng Yunxiao and the others wanted to hammer this Xiaoping who wanted to see the world in chaos. Even if he wanted to die, he shouldn't implicate them. What are you still talking about? Hurry up and hide. Xiaoping couldn't be bothered to talk nonsense with Meng Yunxiao and the others. He immediately activated another formation to conceal everyone's aura to prevent them from being discovered by the glorious sun demons. Chapter 1422. On the other hand, Poison Demon temporarily broke away from the array formation. He stood in midair with an awe-inspiring demonic might. His eyes emitted a ferocious glint. He was a great fiendish demon that was numb to killing. Just standing on the spot was enough to shake the void. He was incomparably powerful. Foolish humans, no matter how much you struggle, You cannot escape death even after killing millions of fiendish demons. This is the final moment for ants like you. Poison Demon sneered. Those humans might have thought that killing 50 million fiendish demons was already a great victory. They were probably celebrating right now. Little did they know that this was the beginning of death. Great fiendish demons like them were infuriated. They did not mind personally killing the bunch of foolish humans. Perhaps they should have attacked right from the beginning. That would not have wasted so much time. But it was not too late. As long as they killed the bunch of humans, everything would come to an end. Alright, let's begin. Human ants, welcome your apocalypse. Poison Demon's killing intent surged. He immediately wanted to tear through the void and teleport in front of Xiaoping and company. He wanted to wipe out all the humans without leaving a single one of them alive. But before he could take action, the entire fiendish demon continent trembled all of a sudden. The void quaked as 3 powerful fiendish demon auras spread across the entire continent. Countless fiendish demons trembled in fear. It was as though 3 supreme hegemons had awakened. It left one shuddering. Holy shit, why did the bright sun demon suddenly awaken? Wasn't it supposed to be asleep for decades? It's not time for them to awaken yet. What's going on? A great fiendish demon was stunned. He looked up into the sky and immediately saw 3 eyes open. They emitted terrifying demonic might that caused the void to tremble. Countless fiendish demons were trembling in fear. Someone shot an arrow at the bright sun demon in an attempt to kill it with a single arrow. He ended up waking them up. Fuck his 18 generations of ancestors. Is he crazy? Does he have a death wish? He has nothing better to do all day and even wants to kill the bright sun demon with a single arrow. Why doesn't he ascend to the heavens? The bright sun demon is so easy to kill. How could it be his turn? Which son of a bitch did it? It's Xiaoping. It's that human Xiaoping. He was the one who shot the 3-headed sun demon. That damn human Xiaoping. He's only harming himself and the devil. I've never seen him do anything good. What the hell is wrong with him? Why did he suddenly shoot the bright sun demon? He thinks that he killed 50 million demons and his ego swelled to the sky. His strength is boundless and he thinks that he can even kill the glorious sun demon. Motherfucker, even if you want to die, don't drag us down with you. This time we're going to die because of him. Human Xiaoping, I will never forgive him. I will kill him and exterminate his entire clan. All the great fiendish demons were infuriated. Their lungs felt like they were about to explode. They yearned to immediately kill Xiaoping, the instigator of all this, and rip the shit-stirrer to shreds. The awakening of the glorious sun fiends, especially when all 3 of them awakened at the same time, was a huge calamity for many fiendish demons. Every awakening would result in the deaths of billions of fiendish demons. Even great fiendish demons would die. There was no need to reason with the glorious sun fiends. To them, these fiendish demons were only food. All of them were prey. The poison demon was infuriated as well. He wanted to immediately teleport over to kill the group of humans, but he did not dare take a single step. The moment he teleported, he would immediately be discovered by the glorious sun fiend. When that happened, he would die a horrible death. In order to kill some human ants, he was willing to die? He was not that virtuous. Strange, why do I feel that the enemy is extremely important to us? If we eat it, we can evolve? Yes, I have the same feeling. It's an important food. We have to find it. I'm hungry. I'm starving. I've never been so hungry before. Awakening prematurely has wasted too much energy. We have to hunt it immediately. Found it. There's a place with large amounts of high-level food. I suggest we hunt it immediately. Alright, let's begin the hunt. The 3 glorious sun fiends were having a simple exchange. Deep in the void, countless psyche thoughts were intertwining with one another, generating electricity in the void. They immediately noticed a large number of great fiendish demons gathered in a valley beneath them. The auras of these great fiendish demons were like super light bulbs to the glorious sun fiend. Furthermore, they were gathered together, making it easy to discover them instantly. Instantly, the 3 gigantic eyeballs turned and cast their gazes downwards. Black beams of light the size of pillars intertwined with one another and blasted at the valley beneath them. Oh no, run! A great fiendish demon screamed and immediately fled. It could no longer care about maintaining the Sky Fiend Yin-Yang reversal array because it was not the time to do so. Once it was caught by the glorious Sun Fiend, it would definitely die. However, just as it flew into the air, a black beam of light shot over and instantly penetrated its body. Its entire body was blasted into 2 halves as it fell to the ground. It was a death beam of light that contained the power of destruction. It instantly wiped out its vitality and even its soul was reduced to nothingness. It was deader than dead and even its high-speed regenerative abilities were useless. This was one of the terrifying powers of the glorious Sun Fiend. It could release death beams that contained the power of death. Once struck, all vitality would be plundered and death was certain. Countless great fiendish demons panicked when they saw this. They fled in every direction, not daring to stay in their spots. Some fled east while others headed west. Some burrowed into the ground, some flew into the sky, some attempted to tear through the void while others attempted to hide deep in the mountains to conceal their auras. However, it was useless. Black beams of light shot down one after another, tearing through the void in a terrifying manner. They intertwined like a gigantic net of death, destroying everything in its path. It was the power of destruction. Even great fiendish demons that had reached the lightning tribulation realm could not withstand a single death beam of light. Bang, bang, bang. A great fiendish demon was flying in midair when a beam of light descended, blasting its head apart. A great fiendish demon attempted to burrow into the ground when a beam of light descended, instantly penetrating thousands of meters underground. Its entire body was blasted apart. A great fiendish demon attempted to hide in a mountain range, using the advantage of the endless mountains to block the death beams of light. However, it was useless. Dozens of beams of light descended, reducing the mountains to dust. Its entire body was riddled with holes. The lethal poison demon was in the most tragic state. It could be said to be the first to bear the brunt of the attack. It was immediately discovered by the three glorious sun fiends and was listed as one of the most important targets to be hunted. Just one black ray of light fell and its body was torn in half. It only let out a shrill scream and then it died. That darn human Xiaoping. I absolutely won't spare him. It's all that bastard's fault. If not, why would the glorious sun fiend awaken? I'm irreconcilable with him. That darn human will suffer retribution sooner or later for being so black-hearted. Did he not have PIIs when giving birth? Chapter 1423. The bright sun demon is truly terrifying. From afar, the disciples of the five major sects saw this scene as well. All of them shuddered as though they had fallen into an icy cavern. They could see great fiendish demons with terrifying auras appearing high in the sky. Their demonic auras surged and the void trembled as though a demon king had been born. However, they were all shot down by black beams of light without being able to put up any resistance. These great fiendish demons were even more fragile than mosquitoes. They died in batches, turning into countless corpses that fell to the ground and stained the area red with blood. It wasn't that these great fiendish demons weren't strong enough. In fact, each great fiendish demon's strength was enough to become an elder of a major sect and dominate a region. They were existences akin to demon kings. However, this bit of strength was nothing in front of the bright sun demon. Fortunately, Xiaoping had already set up an aura-concealing array to conceal their auras. Otherwise, they would definitely be discovered by the bright sun demon and become its prey. Don't tell me that the three bright sun demons have already advanced to the sage realm? Otherwise, how could they kill those great fiendish demons as easily as slaughtering chickens? Someone asked. No, the three bright sun demons are only at the lightning tribulation realm. They haven't advanced to the sage realm yet. The reason why they're so powerful is because their bloodline power is too powerful. It's a racial talent and the fiendish demon power within them is more than 1,000 times that of ordinary great fiendish demons, Meng Yunxiao said solemnly. If such a terrifying bright sun demon were to advance to the sage realm, wouldn't they be even more powerful? Many people gulped as they looked at Meng Yunxiao. It's indeed incredible. In ancient times, every sage realm bright sun demon was an existence akin to a natural disaster. Even sages could easily slaughter them. They were terrifying beyond compare, Meng Yunxiao said. However, it's also more than 1,000 times more difficult for a bright sun demon to advance to the sage realm than ordinary fiendish demons. It's common for them to be unable to break through their entire lives. Upon hearing this, many people felt a chill in their hearts. It was better for such a terrifying fiendish demon not to advance. Otherwise, who knew how many people would have to die to slay such a fiendish demon? Fuck, that bastard Xiaoping is crazy. Why did he provoke the bright sun demon for no reason? He actually used an arrow to kill the bright sun demon. Does he really think he can kill it? Who knows? Maybe he became arrogant after killing 50 million demons. Son of a bitch. If the glorious sun demon discovers our hideout, we'll die for sure. When that happens, I won't let him go even if I become a ghost. Everyone gritted their teeth, feeling extremely sullen. Because of the bright sun demon's appearance, they hid in the valley and shivered, not daring to go out lest they were discovered by the bright sun demon and become its food. Of course, they didn't dare to say these things to each other's faces. They could only communicate with their divine senses. Otherwise, if these words were heard by Xia Ping, this bastard might really destroy the aura concealing formation in a fit of anger, letting everyone die together. At that time they would go crazy. No matter who he wanted to provoke, he could not provoke this lunatic. Everyone look, we can contact the heavenly fortune ranking. The formation that conceals the demonic continent has been destroyed. Suddenly someone shouted in joy. My heavens, it's true. I can feel the aura of the heavenly fortune list. I can return to the mortal world at any time. Thank the heavens, I can finally escape from the sea of suffering. To be honest, I'm really thankful for the appearance of the bright sun demon. Without them going on a rampage and massacring the great fiendish demons, the formation that conceals the demonic continent wouldn't have been destroyed. In that case, we might have really blamed Xia Ping wrongly. Many people's eyes flickered as they looked at Xia Ping in shame. Previously, they were blaming Xia Ping for doing something so stupid. But without Xia Ping's actions, they didn't know how long it would take to contact the heavenly fortune list. Right, now that we can contact the heavenly fortune list, does that mean we can return at any time? We can return at any time, but the problem is that only a few days have passed since the trial. Won't we fail if we return now? Are you kidding me? There was such a huge accident during the trial. If not for our good luck and Xia Ping's help, I'm afraid everyone would have died. Why can't we return? Let's wait and see what the elders have to do. Everyone discussed. They wanted to leave this dangerous place immediately, but when they recalled that they were in the middle of a trial, they didn't dare to return recklessly. Otherwise, if the heavenly fortune list judged them to have failed the trial, they would suffer a huge loss. As for Xia Ping, he was very calm. He had a trump card, so it didn't matter to him. As for the Thunder Tribulation Realm great fiendish demon that wanted to plot against him, he had long been killed by the Bright Sun Demon. Without any life-threatening danger, he was very calm now. Bright Sun Demon. Xia Ping looked up at the Bright Sun Demon in the sky. He felt the bloodline in his body stirring. If he could kill these 3 Bright Sun Demons and devour their bloodline power, his strength would definitely skyrocket. His infernal Golden Crow bloodline would be strengthened countless times. But such powerful fiendish demons weren't something he could deal with at the moment. He could only remember them for now. He would hunt these Bright Sun Demons when he was strong enough. Chapter 1424. It's not cheating. Before the elders of the Guiyuan sect, Lingyun sect, Five Elements sect, and Flying Celestial sect could continue their crusade against the Qingkuan sect elder, an old voice was immediately transmitted to the elders' minds. Lord Tianji. The elders said respectfully because the one who spoke was the artifact spirit of the Tianji board. It was the artifact spirit of a sage. At the same time, its strength was equivalent to a sage's and it was extremely powerful. They had to respect it. That group of fiendish demons caused trouble. They set up the Sky Fiend Yin-Yang reversal formation and hoodwinked my senses. Something big has happened, the Tianji board said. Immediately, a message was transmitted to the elders' minds, letting them understand the whole story. In a few breaths' time, they understood the matter like the back of their hands. Their expressions changed drastically. Damn fiendish demons, how dare they harm our sect's disciples? Setting up the Sky Fiend Yin-Yang reversal formation isn't something that can be done in a day. How long did they plan it? They should be killed, all these fiendish demons should be killed. Lord Tianji, how many of our sect's disciples died this time? The elders were furious and their hearts were filled with anger. They had actually been fooled by those fiendish demons. It was unknown how many disciples would die this time. They looked at the Tianji board nervously. Yes, 1/5 of our disciples died, the Tianji board replied. 1/5. Hearing this, the elders of the 5 major sects were stunned. The casualty rate was really low. After all, this was a plot by countless great fiendish demons. They clearly wanted to kill them all in one fell swoop. If a great fiendish demon attacked, it could easily kill countless disciples in one fell swoop. Only 1/5 of the disciples died. It was too little. What exactly happened? An elder asked. The Tianji board said, I'm not sure. Due to the Sky Fiend Yin-Yang reversal formation, it hoodwinked my senses of the demonic continent. Therefore, I don't know what happened in the meantime. Maybe we can ask the disciples of the 5 major sections. Right, it seems like the 3 glorious sun demons have also awakened and are hunting in the demonic continent. What? An elder was shocked. What happened? Didn't we calculate that the glorious sun demons would only awaken after sleeping for decades? How did they wake up so quickly? Don't worry about this. At this time Yi Mengyao said, an unimaginable accident has occurred in the trial. We should immediately stop the trial and summon the disciples back. Otherwise, the bright sun demon will definitely cause great casualties to the disciples of the 5 great sections. She gave her opinion. That's right. End the trial immediately. We've gotten rid of Lord Tianji. Please let the disciples return. One by one, the elders nodded and immediately decided to end the trial. As you wish. With an explosion, the heaven's secret ranking immediately gave off a golden light, and countless golden words appeared on it. It was like an ancient heavenly book, and each word entered the demon continent. At this moment, every disciple staying in the demon continent felt a mysterious force calling them, and a black hole appeared above their heads, producing a strong suction force. They immediately knew that it was time to return, and what happened in the demon continent must have been known by the elders. Therefore they didn't want to continue to stay in the demon continent, and they all quickly returned. Xiaoping did not struggle. In an instant he left the demon continent and returned to the human world. Whoosh whoosh whoosh. In addition, the disciples of the 5 major sects also left the demon continent one by one. Damn it! The great demons roared angrily, unable to restrain their anger. The plan they had been planning for a long time had completely failed. If they wanted to succeed again, they didn't know how long it would take. They paid such a huge price and even suffered heavy casualties, but they didn't get anything. All of them were so angry that they vomited blood. And these great demons also clearly remembered a human's name, Xia Ping. If it weren't for this human causing trouble, they wouldn't be so miserable and so many great demons would die. Ha! In the sky, the 3 glorious sun demons naturally sensed the aura of these humans. They were eager to catch these humans as food and devour them completely. But before they could do anything, the void vortex disappeared, and these humans had completely left the demon continent. Even if they wanted to catch them, it was too late. In the outside world, on a vast land, the heaven's secret list was shining with golden light. Many names appeared on the heaven's secret list. Among them, Xiaoping's name was the largest, blooming with a dazzling light, like a scorching sun across the sky. The other's light was very small, like the brilliance of a grain of rice. It contained an aura that spanned across the ages, suppressed countless geniuses, and was invincible in an era. Whoosh, whoosh, whoosh. Immediately there was a ripple in space, and the new disciples of the 5 major sects were teleported out. One by one they appeared on the ground, looked around, and breathed in the fresh air of the outside world. Heavens, I'm finally back. I'm back alive. A Guiyuan sect disciple knelt on the ground, crying tears of joy. One could imagine the torment he had suffered over the past few days. Every day was a life and death crisis, and he was afraid of dying at the hands of those fiendish demons. But now he had finally returned to the human world, and escaped the pursuit of the fiendish demons. A sense of bliss after surviving a calamity filled his heart. I knew I was bound to have good fortune after surviving such a calamity. That's great. I'm still alive. I'm really still alive. The elders finally know about this. That's great. That's really great. The disciples of the 5 major sects were overjoyed. As they breathed in the fresh air outside, they realized how wonderful life was, and how blissful life in the outside world was. The abyss world was practically a purgatory. In the future they would never want to return to that place even if they were beaten to death. It was simply inhumane. Why are you back so soon? Didn't you say that you need to stay for a month? It's only been a few days. Xiaoping was a little regretful. A place like the demon continent was very difficult to find. There were many fiendish demons, treasures everywhere, and there was also a rich abyss demon chi. Cultivating in this place, his cultivation efficiency increased by 1,000 times. Many infernal golden crow cells in his body were awakened. He was really a little reluctant to leave and wanted to stay longer. After all, if he left now, he didn't know when he could go back in again. He had a melancholy look on his face. This pervert. Hearing this, the mouths of the disciples of the 5 major sects twitched, and they bared their teeth. This bastard was having a good time in the demon continent. He killed and set fires everywhere, causing trouble, causing a large number of fiendish demons to fall, bringing endless death to those fiendish demons. He even obtained a large number of demon cores. For this pervert, the demon continent was indeed a treasure land. He was like a fish in water, and he was simply like a devil incarnate. He couldn't figure out who the Devil King was. Chapter 1425. Not bad. One of the Soaring Cloud sect's elders looked at the many disciples and nodded slightly. To be able to survive the endless pursuit of the demons, it seems that you have indeed put in a lot of effort. Well done, your cultivation has not been in vain. He knew how terrifying it was to be chased by all the demons in the demonic continent. Even he might not be able to survive. It was a hopeless situation. But Meng Yunxiao and the others survived. It was indeed an amazing thing. Hearing this, Meng Yunxiao and the rest blushed and did not dare to speak. They were only able to survive because of Xia Ping's help. Without Xia Ping's help, they would have been killed by the hundreds of thousands of fiendish demons. They would not be standing here. But this was very embarrassing. How could they say it out loud? Huayang, how are your injuries? The elder looked at Huayang with concern. After all, he was the pride of the Five Elements sect. Huayang immediately said, "Thank you, elder. It's not a big deal. I just need to rest for a few months and I will recover." You did well this time. The elder praised. To be able to get more than 10,000 points, it seems that you killed at least 10,000 demons. This result is one of the best in the past. No. Elder, only 10,000 points. Compared to Brother Xia, it's too far. It's not worth mentioning. Huayang waved his hand. He was very ashamed. The reason why he could kill 10,000 demons was purely because he wanted to kill them. When Xia Ping beat the demons half to death, he would go and finish them off. Unknowingly, he killed 10,000 demons. This was all because of Xia Ping. Therefore, facing the elder's praise, he felt very sullen. It was as if he cheated and felt ashamed. Don't speak for that kid. That Xia Ping definitely cheated to get so many points. More than 50 million points, this is too exaggerated. Could it be that he killed more than 50 million demons? The elder sneered. He still thought that Xia Ping had mastered some special cheating technique. Otherwise, how could the Heaven and Earth sect disciples' results be so exaggerated? Moreover, a treasure-refining realm cultivator killing more than 50 million demons was simply a fantasy. Even if they just stood there and let the kid kill them, he wouldn't be able to kill them all in a few days. Huayang and the others didn't dare to refute the elder's words, but they knew deep down that it wasn't cheating. It was all because of Xia Ping's vermilion bird trigram fire formation that covered thousands of miles that they were able to kill 50 million demons. This was all happening in front of their eyes. How could it be cheating? However, they did not say it out loud. After all, the more powerful Xia Ping was, the more incompetent he would be. They were not willing to do such a shameful thing, so it was better for the elders to misunderstand. Anchang, although you are injured, your cultivation has improved greatly. You have also saved many of your fellow disciples. You have contributed greatly. The Gui Yuan sect elder praised Shuranchang. No. I really didn't do anything. Shuranchang shook his head repeatedly. The reason why his senior and junior brothers were still alive was because of Xia Ping's help. Otherwise, not only his senior and junior brothers, but even he himself would have become food for the demons. Well, you can do it. It seems that you have made great progress this time. Now you know how to be humble. Your future achievements will be extraordinary. The Gui Yuan sect elder was very satisfied. In the beginning, Shuranchang was very arrogant. When he walked, he used his head to look at others. Now he was actually so humble, saying that he didn't do anything. The improvement of one's temperament was sometimes greater than the improvement of one's cultivation. After all, aptitude could determine a person's starting point, but temperament determined a person's final achievement. Those who were arrogant and had their eyes on the top of their head would not go far. Shuranchang was sullen. This time, the demon continent's experience had indeed brought him a great lesson. The combat power that he was proud of was not worth mentioning in front of those ferocious demons. However, that Xia Ping was extremely terrifying. He killed demons like slaughtering pigs and dogs. His little life was also saved by Xia Ping. With such a comparison, how could he still be arrogant? He was defeated miserably. And this matter also completely let him know what it meant by there is always someone better than you. His own ability was nothing at all. So, this wasn't being humble at all. It was the truth. However, no one would believe it even if he said it. Pawang, what crafty tricks did that brat Xia Ping use to actually obtain more than 50 million points? Did you see anything fishy? The Flying Celestial sect elder asked, looking at Li Pawang. He wanted to find clues of Heaven and Earth sects cheating and properly criticize them. Elder, there is nothing fishy about it. Brother Xia won first place, I wholeheartedly accept it. Li Pawang shook his head. What? The Flying Celestial sect elder was a little surprised. When did your relationship with that brat become so good? You are actually speaking up for him? Good my ass. Li Pawang gritted his teeth in anger. Thinking of what had happened before, he was infuriated. Although he was happy that Xiaoping had saved him and the others, the problem was that this fellow was a bloodsucker. He had extorted 20 10,000-year-old spirit herbs from them and forced them to sign an unfair contract. Moreover, if they couldn't pay these 10,000-years-old spirit herbs within 10 days, they would even collect interest. This bastard was simply a loan shark and extorted him. How could he be friends with such a person? However, this matter was truly too embarrassing. He couldn't say it out loud. If he did, they would most probably become the laughingstock of countless people. He wanted nothing more than to bury this matter in the depths of darkness. Boom! At this moment, the heavenly fate rankings trembled, emitting a boundless golden light that illuminated the world. Countless disciples and elders present all raised their heads and looked at the rankings in the air. Instantly, a loud voice rang out. The tempering exercise this time has ended. Although the time was brought forward, the results of the tempering exercise are still valid. Xiaoping of the Jianghu sect obtained first place this time with a total of 57,879,657 points, surpassing the previous number 1. What? All the elders were shocked. They originally thought that the tempering exercise this time was invalid. They didn't expect that the heavenly fate rankings would still be valid. Before they could stop it, in the depths of the heavenly fate rankings, a spatial tunnel opened up. Immediately, 3 drops of crystalline liquid dripped down from the sky. Although it was only 3 drops of liquid, each drop of liquid was incomparably mysterious. It was like a jade talisman, exuding a boundless aura of nobility. In the depths of the liquid, densely packed talisman inscriptions appeared. Each talisman had a different shape. They were like divine birds, dragons, snakes, tortoises, mountains, flames, water droplets. Contained within them was a high-level energy that simply couldn't be compared to the spiritual liquid. My heavens, this is actually Emperor Essence. Chapter 1426. Emperor Molasses. Xiaoping's eyes lit up. He recognized that this was the legendary liquid. It was more precious than any spiritual liquid. Even a single drop contained unimaginable energy. This was the best tonic for living beings. It was the strongest liquid to nurture peerless experts. It was extremely precious. I wonder what it tastes like? Thinking of this, Xiaoping immediately placed a drop of Emperor Molasses into his mouth and swallowed it. At the same time, he activated the pure yang immortal technique. Rumble! Immediately, the energy of the Emperor Molasses exploded. This was the universe's precious liquid. It could allow one's body to evolve and undergo huge changes. If an ordinary person obtained a drop, they could immediately evolve from an ordinary person to a peerless genius. But to Xiaoping now it was just a tonic. The moment it entered his body, it was immediately refined by the solar furnace and transformed into majestic energy. Originally, he had awakened 600,000 golden crow cells. But with the help of the Emperor Molasses, the cells in his body boiled again and awakened crazily. 10,000, 20,000, 30,000. In the end, 100,000 cells were awakened. Xiaoping's body had awakened 700,000 golden crow cells. His strength increased explosively again. He had a premonition that once he awakened 1 million cells, he would face the heavens' tribulation again. At the same time, he would awaken a terrifying golden crow of hell ability. At the same time, his aura changed slightly. The Emperor Molasses' energy fused with his blood and dermic power, creating an incredible change. It seemed that his aura was noble and ancient. At the same time, there was the aura of an emperor. It was as if he was a supreme existence. Ordinary people wouldn't dare to look at Xiaoping directly. They just felt that he was unspeakably noble. Peak of the treasure refining realm. But awakening the golden crow cells was just one aspect. Xiaoping realized that his dermic power was also increasing crazily. It was as if he had been enlightened by a peerless expert. The originally empty purple mansion was now filled with dermic power. He had reached the treasure refining realm great circle. If he cultivated normally, he would need at least a few decades to reach the treasure refining realm great circle. But because of the Emperor Molasses' energy, he immediately reached the peak of the treasure refining realm. He was just one step away from the true fire realm. And most of the Emperor Molasses' energy was absorbed by the golden crow cells. If it was all converted into dermic power, he might be able to break through. But it was only a matter of time. Xiaoping felt that his spiritual consciousness had also undergone a huge change. Originally, it was just a trace of spiritual fire, but now it quickly transformed into a small cluster of flames burning fiercely. Once his divine consciousness was completely transformed into spiritual fire, he would be able to advance to the true fire realm. This change was also noticed by the disciples from the 5 great system-allocated sects, and all of them were filled with envy. Damn, he reached the peak of the refining realm so quickly? I remember that he was only in the mid-refining realm not long ago. His cultivation speed is godly. Even driving a spaceship wouldn't be this fast. Moreover, I don't see his martial arts foundation being unstable. It's all because of the precious imperial liquid. Such a precious liquid is even more precious than dragon blood. Even the ancient clans don't have much of it. They're all used to cultivate the strongest successors. Mingyu, great power. Molasses. This is my first. He's already abnormal enough. Now that he's obtained the Emperor essence, he's improving at a godly speed. How can we catch up? Oh my god, you're really ambitious. You actually want to catch up to this freak. Many disciples discussed animatedly and sighed with emotion. The gap between them and Xiaoping was getting bigger and bigger. As time passed, they would probably only be able to see his back and would be unable to catch up. Even LV Wenhou, Meng Yunxiao, and other geniuses were powerless, not to mention the others. Whoosh. After Xiaoping took the 3 drops of Emperor Molasses, the rewards continued. Another Bao fell from the depths of the Tianji list. The air trembled and a terrifying divine Dao aura filled the air. It was as if the Bao had an earth-shattering power as soon as it appeared. It was as if it could bury the sky and earth. Oh my god, is the Tianji list crazy? They took out such a precious reward. Isn't this the buried heaven Bao? They're willing to take out such a treasure as a reward? An elder of the 5 Elements sect screamed, dumbfounded. He could see that the Bao was filled with an extremely tyrannical aura, and there were many ancient and mysterious talismans carved on it. Inside the Bao, there were many profound and mysterious formations. Indistinctly, there were countless birds and beasts as well as the pictures of mountains and rivers. It was as if a world lived inside the Bao. No, this isn't the real buried heaven Bao. An elder of the universe sect stared at the treasure. It's just a replica. It doesn't have the earth-shattering power of a saint artifact. But even so, it's still a high-grade spirit artifact. Its power is boundless. Replica? That makes sense. If it's a saint artifact, it's too ridiculous. Can a treasure refinement realm cultivator keep it? Hearing this, the 5 Elements sect's elder heaved a sigh of relief. But even so, the reward of a high-grade spirit artifact is too generous. Even though he was an elder, he couldn't help but feel jealous when faced with such a reward. There's no helping it. Another Gui Yuan sect's elder shook his head. This Xiaoping obtained first place in this trial, and his points are the highest in all the previous trials. He broke countless records. It's normal for him to have such a reward. He deserves it. Good treasure. Xiaoping held the Bao in one hand and permeated it with his divine sense. He immediately sensed that the Bao contained boundless spirituality and destructive power. It was as if he could shoot an arrow that could destroy the heavens and earth with just a slight pull of the Bao. Previously, his moon-shooting Bao had been destroyed. He didn't expect that there would be another high-grade spirit artifact, buried heaven Bao. It was like someone sent him a pillow when he was feeling sleepy. So, another reward fell from the passage of the heavenly mystery ranking. It was a golden token with a simple and unadorned word engraved on it. Its name was Sky Piercing. What's this? Xiaoping stretched out his hand and caught the golden token. He was very puzzled. Damn, this is a sky-piercing token. This trial actually gave out a sky-piercing token? Is this a joke? Isn't this just a trial for new disciples? Why is it so rich? Even Yi Mengyao was shocked. She stared at the golden token with her mouth agape. What? Sky-piercing token? The elders of the 5 great sects widened their eyes and stared at the golden token in Xiaoping's hand. Envy and jealousy could be seen in the depths of their eyes. Chapter 1427. Heaven-reaching token? What is that? Xiaoping turned around and looked at the Heaven and Earth sect elder curiously. There's a secret realm in this universe known as the Heaven-reaching secret realm. The Heaven and Earth sect elder said, there are countless treasures in this secret realm and endless opportunities. All the geniuses from the various races wish to enter. It said that there's a chance to become a saint inside. Chance to become a saint. Hearing this, the disciples of the 5 great sects were astonished. They looked at the golden token in Xiaoping's hand with desire. But this heaven-reaching secret realm is shared by the various races. Every time, only 1,080,000 people can enter. The Heaven and Earth sect elders said. 1,080,000 people? Everyone knew how low this number was. After all, there were countless races in the universe. Even if each race sent one person, there would be over 100 million people. 1,080,000 people were chosen from the many races. This was 1 out of 100 million people. Those who could enter were all supreme geniuses from the various races. One could imagine the value of a heaven-reaching token. Of course, the weaker races didn't even have the right to have a heaven-reaching token. Only the top races in the universe had the right to have one. The human race was one of the top races in the universe. Therefore, it wasn't hard to imagine the shock and desire of these elders. Even they wanted to get a heaven-reaching token to enter the legendary heaven-reaching secret realm. The problem was that every heaven-reaching token was extremely difficult to obtain. Moreover, they had to recognize the owner. Once it was bound to the owner, even if others obtained it, they wouldn't be able to enter. This also cut off the thoughts of many people. What a great opportunity! Many sect elders were filled with envy, jealousy, and hatred. It was unknown how many people wanted to obtain the Supreme Heaven token, but now it was actually obtained by Xiaoping so easily. It was unknown how many people would die of envy. Boom! Just at this moment, the Tianji rankings tunnel disappeared. This also meant that the rewards this time had ended and there wouldn't be any more rewards. This made everyone heave a sigh of relief. If there were more huge rewards, they wouldn't be able to control their mental state. Their hearts wouldn't be able to take it. An hour later, the top 10 contestants of this trial had basically all obtained the rewards from the Heavenly Mystery ranking, be it spiritual weapons, spiritual herbs, or precious materials. However, the rewards this time around were all monopolized by the disciples of Heaven and Earth sect, causing the people from the other 4 great sects to stomp their feet in anger. However, there was nothing they could do. At that moment, the elders of the 5 great sects learned the truth of the matter from their disciples. They knew that if Xiaoping and the others had not come to their rescue, the disciples of the other 4 sects would have all died. Therefore they had no choice but to admit that the reward was well deserved. Boom! A teleportation formation lit up, and the disciples of the Heaven and Earth sect were quickly teleported back. The disciples of the 5 Elements sect, the Gue Yuan sect, the Flying Immortal sect, and the Lingyun sect were also teleported back to their respective sections. However, after this trial, Xiaoping's name could be said to have shaken the 5 great sects, and countless higher-ups knew about him. Before leaving, Yi Mengyao looked deeply at Xiaoping. She always had a premonition that sooner or later, she would have to face this new disciple. Perhaps this was a kind of ill-fated relationship. After returning to the Jianghu sect, Xiaoping greeted the various elders and fellow disciples before returning to Yanhuang Peak. He wanted to summarize his harvest this time. Beep beep. At this moment, the system's voice sounded, "Congratulations to the host for attracting the hatred of the 4 great sects, including the Lingyun sect and many great demons. This time you have received a total of 2.5 billion hatred points. I hope you will continue to work hard." 2.5 billion hatred points? Xiaoping was extremely excited. He also knew that he had provoked a lot of hatred this time, especially from the group of great demons. Because of his scheme, many great demons died in the hands of the Bright Sun demon. It was easy to imagine the hatred the group of great fiendish demons had for him. It was like it had broken through the heavens. However, he did not expect to receive 2.5 billion hatred points this time. Coupled with the remaining 1 billion hatred points from before, he had a total of 3.5 billion hatred points on him. He became rich overnight. He didn't know how to spend so much hatred points. Xiaoping was elated and excited. Host. The system said, "It is recommended to buy a piece of chaos pure gold. It can be used as the main material for the host to forge a life origin magic weapon." Chaos pure gold? Xiaoping blinked his eyes. Chaos pure gold is a rare material born in the depths of chaos. Its growth rate is extremely high and it can grow almost infinitely. It can be integrated into all kinds of minerals in the world. It is also extremely hard and contains the aura of chaos. The system said, "Treasures made from chaotic pure gold all have unlimited growth potential. They can absorb countless minerals to increase their own power. It's all-encompassing." It described the various benefits of this material. Damn, 3 billion hatred points for one piece. Why don't you go rob someone? The corner of Xiaoping's mouth twitched. He looked at the price of chaos pure gold curiously and was immediately shocked. 3 billion hatred points for one piece was too outrageous. He didn't know how long it would take for him to get 3 billion hatred points, but a piece of ore had consumed most of his wealth. It was really a waste. It's worth it, the system said. This? Xia Ping had to admit that the system was indeed very reasonable. This piece of chaos pure gold was more precious than any material he had seen before. If he took it out, even the saints would be envious. After all, this was a material produced in the depths of chaos and could not be found in the outside world. Moreover, he was refining his own magic weapon, a magic weapon that grew with him. Of course, the materials used had to be the best so as to live up to the name of the strongest. If he was reluctant to use high-grade materials now, he would probably regret it to death in the future. After thinking about it, Xia Ping gritted his teeth. All right, exchange. He decided to exchange. If he wanted to refine the strongest magic weapon, how could he not have the best materials? Back then, the Myriad Star sect master had spent most of his wealth to build the Myriad Stars, so he should also be aware of this. Yes, host. The system said. Boom, immediately the void split open, and a fist-sized ore immediately appeared in front of Xia Ping. It was filled with chaotic air currents, like a black hole, constantly devouring the world's essence energy. The depths of the ore seemed to contain a mysterious restrictive power. It was extremely mysterious, and he felt as if there was a universe in the depths of the ore. There was an incredible energy. Moreover, it was extremely heavy. Although it was only the size of a fist, it was at least 100,000 tons. Such a weight was enough to crush a fierce beast to death. The density was unimaginably high. This is chaos pure gold. Xia Ping felt that even if he used a high-grade spirit weapon to attack the ore with all his strength, he would not be able to leave a trace on it. This was worthy of being called a cosmic strange stone. Before Xia Ping could continue his research, his communicator suddenly rang, and he received a message. Master is looking for me? The dragon trapping pillar has been refined. Xia Ping's eyes lit up. He had waited for a long time, and finally, the news of the dragon trapping pillar's successful refinement came. Chapter 1428. Dark North Peak. In a quiet room, Dark North Sage sat on an ice jade bed. He did not give off any aura. In fact, it was close to nothing. It was as if he had completely merged with the universe. He was clearly in this universe, but it seemed like he was not. It was as if he had transcended this dimension and was in another space. He gave off a mysterious aura. Master. Xia Ping walked into the quiet room and greeted the Dark North Sage respectfully. He could feel that the Dark North Sage seemed to have grown stronger and more unfathomable than he had seen him before. Just by sitting on the ice jade bed, he seemed to see a universe with signs of birth and destruction. Even his golden crow eyes of hell could see through all the mysteries. Of course, this was also because his cultivation level was too low. Well, I heard about the trial in the fiendish demon battlefield. You did well, Dark North Sage said. He had already heard about what happened in the fiendish demon battlefield from the Jianghu faction elder. To be honest, he did not think it would be difficult for Xia Ping to get first place. However, he had not expected Xia Ping's points to reach the highest level in history. This was unprecedented and probably would not happen in the future. After all, to kill tens of millions of demons aside from the right time and place, there was also the right people. Without all these factors, it was basically impossible to achieve this. Hence, this was something that could be called a miracle. Thank you for your praise, Master, Xia Ping said modestly. No matter what, it was a great honor to be praised by a sage. Dark North Sage said, this time you obtained a Heaven Ascension token. This token is very important. It can lead you to the Heaven Ascension secret area. That is the Myriad Race battlefield. There are countless secret treasures there. It will be very beneficial for your growth. However, remember, before you advance to the Golden Elixir realm, you are not allowed to enter the Heaven Ascension secret area. Otherwise you will be seeking death. Of course, the stronger you are, the more benefits you will obtain in the Heaven Ascension secret area. There is no doubt about this. He looked at Xia Ping seriously and warned him. Master, what kind of place is the Heaven Ascension secret area? What treasures are there in it? Xia Ping asked curiously. He knew that even the Thunder Tribulation Realm elders wanted to enter this secret area. After all, the Thunder Tribulation Realm elders were very powerful. They were the strongest people below the sages. If the sages did not appear, they would be almighty. They could obtain all the wealth in the world. Such a big shot actually wanted to enter the heaven accessing secret area. It could be imagined that this secret area was absolutely extraordinary. Well, the heaven accessing secret area is an ancient universe secret area, formed naturally by the universe. The secrets contained in it can't even be understood by sages and can't be broken through. You'll know what it's like when you go in. It's useless to tell you now. North Sea Sage didn't say much. It seemed to be a taboo. That was because the sky-reaching secret area was a universe secret area that all the clans in the universe wanted to occupy. However, none of the clans could do so. Therefore, they had to sit down and negotiate and issue the sky-reaching writ. Yes, Master. Xia Ping nodded. Since even Dark North Saint said so, it seemed that the heaven-accessing place was really dangerous and could not be underestimated. He did not continue to ask. Anyway, he could go in when the time came. However, he also knew that he could not go in even if he wanted to. After all, there seemed to be a time limit for the opening of the heaven-accessing secret area. It was not the time to open the heaven-accessing secret area yet. By the way, the dragon confinement pillar you lent me last time has been repaired. Dark North Saint smiled slightly and said, I have slightly modified and upgraded it. It should be able to reach the level of a superior grade spiritual weapon. It can trap enemies 2 realms higher than you. But if the opponent has a special magic weapon or a powerful secret method, it is still possible to break through the defense of the dragon confinement pillar. Don't be careless lest you fail miserably. He waved his hand and immediately a golden pillar as thick as an arm was thrown on Xia Ping. Countless mysterious and profound talisman formations appeared on the pillar, and ancient inscriptions appeared. As soon as this thing appeared, golden light radiated in all directions, as if the quiet room had been dyed gold. Ancient talismans appeared one after another, turning this place into a domain. This is the dragon confinement pillar? Xia Ping took the golden pillar and his eyes immediately lit up. This magic weapon had indeed been greatly improved. Originally, it needed 5 pillars, but now that Dark North Saint had merged them into one, there was no need to arrange them in advance. He only needed to throw it out to activate the internal formation of the dragon confinement pillar, and it would immediately become the dragon confinement domain, suppressing all enemies within the domain. He felt that this was the real dragon confinement pillar. The previous one was just a fake imitation. The range of the domain has also expanded. Xia Ping was delighted. He sent his divine consciousness in and immediately felt that the range of the dragon confinement domain had expanded a lot. Originally, it was only a few kilometers wide, but now it had expanded to thousands of kilometers. Once activated, enemies within 1,000 kilometers would be covered by the domain. This kind of power had increased by more than 100 times. Moreover, the materials of this magic weapon were also different from the previous ones. There were secret silver, black crystal, purple silver, fine gold, white brilliant steel, earth crystal, and other precious materials. They were all cosmic ores that could not be found in the cloud realm. It could be said that this was no longer a repair, but a powerful magic weapon forged by Dark North Saint using countless precious materials after he had understood the mystery of the dragon confinement pillar. The products of a saint must be the best. This was the power of a saint. A random treasure made by a saint had surpassed the original owner. It was clearly a counterfeit, but it was of a higher grade than a counterfeit. It looked more like the real thing. This was the highest realm of counterfeiting. As the saying goes, the student surpasses the master. This is exactly what it means to have a student surpass the master. Thank you, Master. Xia Ping said excitedly. With this magic weapon he could go anywhere in the world. It was equivalent to a trump card. Enemies who were not 2 realms higher than him would simply be looking for death if they wanted to cause trouble for him. You're welcome. Although this magic weapon is weak, the ideas in it are really good. It is endless and contains a trace of the mysteries of the laws. It is also of great benefit to me. Dark North Saint smiled slightly. He had indeed gained a lot from the dragon confinement pillar. At his realm, ordinary cosmic wonders were no longer of much help to his cultivation. Only some strange and wonderful ideas, some enlightenment of heaven and earth, could allow his cultivation to improve. As for the new version of the dragon confinement pillar, it was just a magic weapon he had casually made after he understood the equality domain. What else do you need to ask? If you have any questions about the martial Dao, you can also ask me. Dark North Saint asked. He was in a good mood. Yes, Master. Xia Ping immediately asked and told him all the questions he had in his daily life. Dark North Saint was indeed a saint. He had a strategically advantageous and rich experience. He saw the problem at a glance and gave Xia Ping advice on his cultivation. This also benefited Xia Ping a lot and he felt that he had a great understanding. Chapter 1429. Yanhuang Peak. Xia Ping returned from the North Darkstar Peak. He wanted to strike while the iron was hot and take out the chaotic adamantine to forge his own Dharma treasure. However, the system suddenly warned him. Host, please do not forge your Dharma treasure in Yanhuang Peak. The chaotic adamantine is a strange stone in the universe. Once forged, there will definitely be a phenomenon. Even the restrictions of Yanhuang Peak cannot hide it. The system warned, if you are targeted by some enemies with bad intentions, your life may be in danger. It said that the phenomenon produced by forging the chaotic adamantine would be very shocking. It would probably alarm hundreds of light years away. Even sages would take action to investigate. Hearing this, Xiaoping's eyes lit up. Fortunately, the system warned him. Otherwise, he would be in big trouble if he foolishly forged the chaotic adamantine in Yanhuang Peak. After all, even sages would covet the chaotic adamantine. Even if his master, the North Darkstar Sage, would not covet his Dharma treasure, there were still 2 sages in the Jianghu sect. He could not guarantee that the other sages did not have bad intentions. Therefore, forging a Dharma treasure in Yanhuang Peak was not advisable. In fact, forging in the 5 starfields ruled by the Jianghu sect was a stupid thing to do. Because the alarm would spread over hundreds of light years, it would not only be the Jianghu sect sages. The sages of the 5 Elements sect, the Lingyun sect, the Guiyuan sect, and the Flying Celestial sect might also be alarmed. This was no small matter. It seems that I have to find an uninhabited starfield far away from the sage-level sects to forge my Dharma treasure. Thinking of this, Xiaoping decided to ask the knowledgeable Corinne to find an uninhabited starfield that would not be discovered by the sages. I can go to the fog star field. Hearing Xiaoping's question, Corinne's eyes flashed. Stupid cat, do you want master to die? Hearing this, the green ox immediately scolded, do you know how dangerous the fog star field is? It is one of the forbidden places in the universe. If you are not careful, even sages may get lost in it. What is the fog star field? Xiaoping asked curiously. Master, the fog star field is not a good place. The green ox immediately said, in ancient times, it was the famous Death Star region. The area it covered was boundless and no one knew just how big it was. The dense fog star field is covered in fog all year round. The magnetic field is chaotic and can disrupt one's spiritual senses. Even the universe virtual network can't log into the dense fog star field. All communication methods will disappear in the dense fog star field. Moreover, there are many ominous space beasts living in this star area. They appear from time to time. Creatures who accidentally enter the dense fog star area will either get lost in this star area or be killed by the ominous space beasts. All in all, this is an extremely dangerous starfield. Once you enter, you'll only have a slim chance of survival. It tried its best to describe the dangers of this place. If an ordinary person went in, they would definitely die. Xiaoping turned around and looked at Corinne asking, why do you want to enter this starfield? He didn't think that Corinne wanted him to enter this place to die. There must be a reason for it. Because the real treasure of the Myriad Stars sect, the last secret treasure, is hidden in the dense fog star field. Corinne sighed. At that time, Old Master knew that he would die without a doubt, so he sent all his treasures to a location in the dense fog star field. After all, even if a sage wants to enter the dense fog star field, they will get lost inside. So, he hid the treasures inside. It must be foolproof. Treasures of the Myriad Stars sect. Xiaoping suddenly felt his heart palpitate. To be honest, the Myriad Stars sect used to be a sage-level sect, and the treasures they had plundered were simply innumerable. It was true that a sage had plundered a lot of them. But a rotten ship still had 3 pillars, and even if there were some leftovers, it was still an incredible treasure for him. However, the dense fog star field is known as a place where even a sage can get lost. Why did the Myriad Stars sect master hide the treasures inside? Isn't he afraid that he won't be able to find them in the future? Xiaoping asked doubtfully. Corinne faintly smiled. For ordinary sages, the dense fog star field is naturally a dangerous place. The fog inside can disturb the magnetic field, and even contains a corrosive aura. Even if a sage stays there for a long time, his foundation will be damaged. There are also countless cosmic beasts living inside, and there are even sage-level cosmic beasts. They are tyrannical and unparalleled. If one is not careful, even a sage will fall inside. But Old Master is different. He cultivated the star-guiding art, condensed the star body and turned into the son of the stars. He has an extraordinary comprehension of the stars. In the dense fog star field, there are also many planets and some of them are fixed. For Old Master, these are the coordinates of the dense fog star field. Therefore, the dense fog star field was actually Old Master's base camp, his last trump card. He was proud of himself. There is such a thing. The green ox was dumbfounded. He didn't expect that someone could actually freely enter and exit the dense fog star field. It was really unimaginable. The myriad star sect still has treasures. Why do you say this now? Xiaoping asked. Strength. Corinne said seriously, previously you didn't have enough strength. Even if you knew the coordinates of the dense fog star field, you would still be courting death if you went in. After all, sometimes you will encounter unpredictable dangers. But it's different now. You have advanced to the late-stage treasure refining realm and will soon be able to step into the true fire realm. With this kind of strength, even in the universe you will be able to hold your own. At least you won't die easily, so you are now also qualified to obtain the treasures of the Myriad Stars sect. Xiaoping nodded. Very well, then let's go to the dense fog star field. By the way, how long will it take to get to that place? It will take about 10 days. Corinne thought for a while. If it was an ordinary spaceship, it would take at least half a year to reach there. However, the Myriad Stars was a sage-level spaceship. Its speed was many times faster and could save a lot of time. A few days later, Xiaoping rested for a while and cultivated his essence, qi, and spirit to its peak state before he boarded the Myriad Stars and set off. The reason why he delayed for a few days was actually not just because he wanted to rest. He also wanted to stay at Yanhuang Peak and wait for the disciples of the four major sects, Gui Yuan sect, Lingyun sect, Five Elements sect, and Flying Celestial sect, to give him his reward. In the end, during these few days, the disciples of the four major sects kept their promise and sent a total of 70 10,000-year-old spiritual herbs to Xiaoping's Yanhuang Peak through the Universal Express Company. Of course, the disciples of the four major sects did not dare to go back on their promise. After all, they had signed a contract with Xiaoping. If they did not abide by it, they would immediately be exposed by Xiaoping. By then they would lose all their face. But even so, they still bled a lot and secretly scolded Xiaoping for being a shameless vampire, a greedy glutton, a corrupt official who sucked the people's fat and wealth, and a maggot hiding in the depths of the sawdust. Chapter 1430. In the depths of the star field. The stars were traveling in space toward the dense fog star field. Meanwhile, inside the spaceship, Master. The green ox looked at Xiaoping and asked, "Can I use the energy of these demon cores to repair part of the Mountain River Pearl's power? This should be beneficial to Master." "What kind of power can it repair?" Xiaoping asked curiously. "More than 50 million demon cores contain enormous energy. It should be able to repair some of the Mountain River Pearl's defensive and offensive abilities. It can even repair the Spirit Medicine Valley inside the Mountain River Pearl. It can help Master refine a large number of pills." The green ox immediately said. The so-called Spirit Medicine Valley was a naturally formed place for refining pills. There were dozens of active volcanoes around it, and each volcano had an ancient array that absorbed the flames deep in the void. These flames were natural spirit flames that were extremely powerful and could remove impurities from spirit herbs. The entire Spirit Medicine Valley itself was also a pill refinement room. With the green ox's alchemy techniques, it could quickly refine a large number of pills. The green ox was even an alchemy grandmaster. It had been following its old master for a long time and was influenced by him. It often acted as an assistant and was already familiar with all kinds of alchemy techniques. "Master, you usually swallow spirit herbs like a cow chewing on peonies?" The green ox sighed. "Although you have a special ability that allows you to swallow most of the medicinal effects without wasting them, if you refine these spirit herbs into pills, the medicinal effects can be increased by more than a few times. For example, if Master could give the 70 10,000-year-old spirit herbs to me and refine them into Shadowed Heaven pills, the medicinal effects would be increased by at least a few times. It can speed up Master's cultivation efficiency." Shadowed Heaven pill? Xiaoping was very curious. After asking carefully, he found out that the Shadowed Heaven pill was a pill unique to the Mountain River Saint. It was completely pure without any impurities and had strong medicinal effects. After consuming it, one would not need to eat or drink for 3 days and 3 nights, and one would be full of energy. It was 100 times better than the all-nourishing pill. At the same time, it could also refine the physique, making the bones, muscles, skin and tendons of the body tougher. Long-term consumption could even improve one's aptitude. Of course, the most important thing was that it could quickly increase one's magic power, saving the cultivator the time to absorb the world's essence qi. Although its effect was slightly worse than a universe wonder like the Emperor liquid, it was still quite precious. Consuming one could save 10 years of condensing magic power, In this way, Xiaoping only had to focus on cultivating his martial Dao divine abilities and comprehending the principles of heaven and earth. There was no need for him to waste his time on absorbing the essence energy of heaven and earth. Alright, I agree. You can use these monster cores as you wish to repair the Pearl of Mountains and Rivers. Thinking up to there, Xiaoping immediately agreed. Repairing the Pearl of Mountains and Rivers was clearly more beneficial to him. Yes, master, the green ox said excitedly. At that moment, the azure ox immediately placed over 50 million monster cores on a formation. In just a few seconds, it refined them and converted them into tremendous energy. This energy was like a black liquid. It was extremely vast as the sea. It quickly seeped into every corner of the bead of mountains and rivers, repairing the damaged parts inside the bead of mountains and rivers. Rumble, the bead of mountains and rivers was repairing itself at a speed visible to the naked eye. Its space had also expanded and the land area had increased rapidly. It had doubled in size compared to before. Even the soil had changed. It turned black and seemed to have become more nutritious. At the same time, the life-saving soil of the Nine Heaven had also evolved, rapidly expanding its surface area. The energy of the monster core had a great effect on the life-saving soil of the Nine Heaven. Xiaoping could also sense that the bead of mountains and rivers had repaired many damaged formations. One ancient formation after another appeared inside the bead of mountains and rivers, emitting a profound and mysterious spatial aura. He felt that his control over the bead of mountains and rivers had become smoother. It seemed to be emitting a hint of the bead of mountains and rivers' power as a divine artifact. With a light smash, the bead of mountains and rivers would immediately erupt with boundless power. It was as if many mountains had smashed down from the void. Many rivers pierced through the void with boundless power. So that's how it is. Not only can the bead of mountains and rivers be used as a supplementary space, but it can also be used as an offensive magic treasure? Xiaoping understood some of the profoundness within the bead of mountains and rivers. Master, you're right. The green ox said proudly, if the bead of mountains and rivers can continue to be repaired and awaken the landscape state painting, a painting will envelop everything within 100 million kilometers. It will turn into a domain of mountains and rivers to suppress powerful enemies. Back then, Old Master used the bead of mountains and rivers to attack saints. Who knows how many illustrious achievements he had. Xiaoping was very satisfied. Not bad. By the way, how long will it take to refine the Shadowed Heaven pill? It'll take at least a month. The green ox thought about it. After all, the bead of mountains and rivers has only just recovered a portion of its abilities. I need to familiarize myself with it for a while. Moreover, I also want to plant the dozens of 10,000-year-old spiritual herbs and obtain many spiritual herb seeds. That way we'll be able to obtain more spiritual herbs and make the bead of mountains and rivers a true spiritual herb world. It looked excited. All right. Xiaoping nodded. It would be quite beneficial for him to be able to plant a large number of spiritual herbs. Naturally, he would not stop the green ox. More than 10 days later, the stars crossed countless star zones and were already very far away from the Qingquan sect's territory. They were even far away from the Soaring Cloud sect and the other 4 major sects, arriving at another place in the universe. It was an unfamiliar star zone that was extremely mysterious. This is the dense fog star zone. Xiaoping stood up. Through the virtual projection he could observe the situation outside. A vast star zone appeared in front of him. However, this star zone was currently surrounded by gray fog. Its appearance was like an eggshell, producing a chaotic state. Even the detection system could not observe the situation in the depths of the fog. All electromagnetic methods were disrupted, and the gray fog contained a mysterious power that emitted a deep and terrifying aura. The dense fog star zone was countless times more dangerous than the demon continent. However, Xiaoping was not afraid because he believed in the power of the stars. No matter how dangerous it was, he would be able to escape from it. Swoosh. The stars immediately entered the dense fog star zone. Xiaoping immediately sensed that the spaceship seemed to have encountered a huge obstacle. It was as if the fog had turned into mud and swamps. Every time they moved forward, they would need to expend a great deal of energy. Fortunately, the stars was a saint-level spaceship with terrifying power. If it were an ordinary spaceship, it would only be able to travel a few thousand kilometers before it would completely break down and be unable to move. At the same time, he also realized that his signal with the universe virtual network had been completely cut off. All means of communication had disappeared as if they were being disrupted by a mysterious power. Boom. At this moment, a huge figure suddenly appeared in the distance. It flew over slowly like a star, emitting a terrifying and ferocious aura that shook the void. Xiaoping's pupils constricted. He immediately saw that the figure had the appearance of a whale. There were dense scars on its body, and each one was like a deep mountain rift valley. It was very terrifying. Dense, ancient divine patterns appeared on the surface of its skin. There was a horn on its head that flickered with lightning. It swam over like a universe overlord. With a bang, it arrived at a star domain and swallowed with a large mouth. More than 10 planets were swallowed into its stomach like jelly beans. The boundless fog was also swallowed, and it was as if the area within a radius of billions of kilometers had become an absolute domain. Ancient beast, heavenly whale. The green bull immediately recognized it. This was an overlord-level beast, and its strength was comparable to a saint level. Activate the stealth system immediately. Chapter 1431. Fuck, a heavenly divine whale? A saint-tier beast? What the hell is this place? Xiaoping was dumbfounded. Normally, saint-tier beasts were elusive, but they had just arrived at the dense fog star field, and they had already seen one. Furthermore, it was the famous heavenly divine whale. It was said that the heavenly divine whale was a beast that had lived since ancient times. Even saints had eaten some before, and it was extremely ferocious. In front of such a overlord-tier ancient beast, even the void was trembling. Even a wisp of its ferocious aura could crush a planet. It seemed like even the myriad stars was under extreme pressure and was about to be crushed into a metal ball. However, the myriad stars was a saint-tier spaceship after all. They were at the same level, so it could withstand this terrifying aura. Stupid cat, I told you not to come here. You didn't believe me, so you dragged us here to die. The green bull was fuming. Even if its old master, the mountain river saint, appeared here, he would not dare to say that he could defeat the heavenly divine whale. Don't worry, the myriad stars was actually a spaceship built to enter the dense fog star field. It has a stealth system that can hide in the fog and restrain its aura. It won't be discovered by the heavenly divine whale. Corinne patted his chest confidently, expressing that he was a veteran and had entered the dense fog star field many times. This kind of situation was really too much. It was just child's play. However, he was also very guilty. After all, he did not expect that they would be so lucky to encounter an overlord-tier ancient beast as soon as they entered the dense fog star field. Fortunately, the heavenly god whale left leisurely after devouring dozens of nearby planets. Perhaps the myriad star's stealth ability was extremely powerful, and the heavenly divine whale could not discover it at all. Or perhaps the myriad stars was really too small, and it was just like a speck of dust to it. Could not notice it at all. In short, 2 hours later, the heavenly divine whale disappeared from Xiaoping's and the others' vision. They immediately breathed a sigh of relief. There is no interstellar navigation map in this place. How do we proceed? Xiaoping looked at Corinne. Star guiding art. Corinne said seriously. In the dense fog star field, many planets have some star coordinates left by the old master. They will not disappear even after billions of years. Only those who have cultivated the star attraction art can sense the coordinates of these stars. As long as we can sense the coordinates of these stars, we will be able to move freely in the dense fog star field. And the treasures of the myriad stars sect should be at the most dazzling place in the star coordinates. Star coordinates? Star guiding art. Hearing this, Xiaoping closed his eyes and circulated the star attraction art. Immediately, his astral physique appeared, and his body was filled with endless starlight. A heavenly cycle stellar array appeared within his body. Rumble, he could feel the power of the star attraction art. The stars within tens of thousands of miles were attracted by him. Endless starlight was drawn from all directions, and even the power of the fog could not resist it. These are the star coordinates? Xiaoping sensed that a star chart had appeared in the depths of his mind. There were dense dots of light on it, seemingly showing the appearance of countless stars. He immediately knew that these dots of light were planets with a radius of millions of miles. There seemed to be a guide in them. As long as he followed the coordinates of these stars, he would be able to reach the final destination. This was also the guidance given by the myriad star sect's sect master to his disciples. Move 45 degrees to the east. Xiaoping opened his eyes, revealing a glimmer of light as he spoke. Yes. Corinne was very excited. He knew that Xiaoping had finally triggered the star coordinates of the bewilderment fog star field. If he couldn't sense it, then he wouldn't be able to move in the bewilderment fog star field. He would be wandering around like a headless fly. This journey took 3 days and 3 nights. Along the way, Xiaoping also saw many fierce beasts in the Bewilderment Fog Star Field. They wandered in the Bewilderment Fog Star Field and appeared from time to time. Each fierce beast had a terrifying power. If they left the Bewilderment Fog Star Field, it would definitely cause a great calamity. He also saw many spaceships, all of which were ownerless. He estimated that these spaceships were ships that had accidentally entered the Bewilderment Fog Star Field from ancient times to the present. Of course, there were also people who thought that they were very powerful and that they could conquer the Bewilderment Fog Star Field. They came in with invincible fleets, but they were instantly destroyed. If they weren't destroyed by the fierce beasts they accidentally encountered, they would be lost in the endless fog. They wouldn't be able to leave for thousands or even tens of thousands of years, and would eventually starve to death. Xiaoping made a rough calculation. There were tens of thousands of ownerless spaceships that he had encountered these days. They were floating alone in the Bewilderment Fog Star Field, wandering around like ghosts. This planet is not bad. Soon Xiaoping came to a planet with star coordinates left behind. His eyes lit up because this was a life planet similar to Earth, suitable for human survival. He had found so many planets, and they were basically extremely harsh and unsuitable for human survival. Such a suitable planet was too rare. It's here. Xiaoping decided to temporarily rest on this primitive planet and forge his own life source magic weapon. After all, he didn't know how long it would take to reach the end of the myriad star sex treasure trove. Therefore he had to forge his life source magic weapon first. Slime. At this time the golden slime also shouted excitedly. Yes. Xiaoping could sense the golden slime's intentions. It sensed that many asteroids had appeared around this life planet. Among them there were asteroids that were completely condensed from iron or asteroids that were condensed from gold, copper planets, silver planets, aluminum planets, uranium planets, and so on. It could be said that this was simply a paradise for it to hunt and evolve. It had to be said that the Bewilderment Fog Star Field was really rich in resources. There were simply countless planets with similar minerals. Perhaps this was also because humans rarely set foot in the Bewilderment Fog Star Field, causing it to never be exploited by humans. Therefore it was extremely rich in all kinds of resources. Go, but be careful. Xiaoping nodded and allowed the golden slime to go hunt. Swoosh. The next second, the golden slime immediately left the myriad star and flew to those terrestrial planets, devouring them in large mouthfuls. Boom. At this time, the myriad star also landed on this mysterious life planet. Xiaoping walked out and found a valley. He set up one large array after another around him so that he wouldn't be disturbed while he was forging his life origin magic treasure. Although there was no one on this primitive planet, he was still used to being fully prepared. It was better to be safe than sorry. Chapter 1432. What kind of magic treasure should I refine? Xiaoping fell into deep thought. Different people had different ideas about how to forge a natal dharma treasure. Some people forged a cauldron, some forged a sword, some forged a saber, some forged a spear, and so on. But no matter what kind of natal dharma treasure it was, it had to be the most suitable for the user. He closed his eyes and entered the depths of his subconscious. He slowly meditated and thought about what kind of natal dharma treasure he should forge. After an unknown period of time, a dharma treasure slowly took shape. Xiaoping suddenly opened his eyes, revealing a shocking golden light. This dharma treasure was a bell. Thinking of this, he didn't hesitate and immediately used the distant fire forging art. Boom. In an instant, Xiaoping's 108,000 pores immediately surged with majestic extraordinary fire, burning fiercely. The surrounding 100 miles turned into a world of flames. At the same time, he willed the endless flames to condense into an iron hammer. Dong dong dong. Xiaoping controlled the flaming hammer and hit the chaotic adamantine. With every hit, the extraordinary fire's power eroded, causing the chaotic adamantine to change shape and distort. Although the chaotic adamantine would only change shape a little with each hit, after thousands of hits, the chaotic adamantine had the shape of a bell, constantly expelling impurities. This kind of tempering even caused the world to resonate, producing resonance power. The sound waves vibrated and penetrated the chaotic adamantine's internal structure, as if the power of heaven and earth was squeezing the chaotic adamantine. This round of hammering lasted for 3 days and 3 nights. During this time, Xiaoping didn't eat or drink. But for the current Xiaoping this was nothing. Even if he didn't eat or drink for a few months, his body wouldn't have any problems and he would still be full of energy. At this time the chaotic adamantine had completely changed shape. It was originally a lump, but after being hammered by Xia Ping into the shape of a bell, it was only about the size of a palm. This didn't matter. As the natal Dharma treasure continued to strengthen, it would also continue to expand. But this was only the initial form of a natal Dharma treasure. To truly forge a Dharma treasure, he still needed to inscribe all kinds of heaven and earth arrays inside. And a natal Dharma treasure was even more incredible. He needed to inject his own mystic arts and arrays into it one by one. Only then could his body and mind be in harmony and unleash perfect power. Let's begin. Xia Ping activated the Golden Crow's eyes of hell, and a mysterious and profound array formation was operating in the depths of his pupils. He focused his mind. He couldn't afford to miss even the slightest mistake, or all his previous efforts would go to waste. Massive heavenly cycle stellar formation. He cast a Dharma art, and his divine consciousness sketched the runes of the array formation in the void. In an instant it blasted into the bell. Immediately, the bell continued to tremble and a ripple appeared in the void. It contained the mysterious power of the stars, and many stars appeared on the surface of the bell, as if it could communicate with the power of the stars in the world. The moment the grand array of heavenly stars was formed, an endless amount of blue star energy descended from outer space and poured into the bell. The majestic star energy cleansed the magic treasure. Azure the Arch Longevity Array. Next, Xia Ping began to carve the second array formation. When he was carving inside the bell, a mysterious and profound wood array formation immediately appeared. On the surface of the bell, patterns of trees immediately appeared, as if it had turned into an endless forest. With the bell as the center, the wood elemental chi within a radius of thousands of miles frantically surged into the inside of the bell, controlling the power of the wood element. The land around Xia Ping also seemed to be affected by the dense wood elemental chi. Countless plants began to grow wildly, and all kinds of flowers began to bloom in violation of the laws of the seasons. They were verdant and fragrant, containing the aura of heaven and earth, nature, longevity, and so on. It was as if he was the master of nature, the ancestor of all things. Yin-Yang Universe Array. This was the third array that Xia Ping had carved. A Yin-Yang 8 trigrams array immediately sank into the depths of the bell, devouring the power of the yin and yang of the world. It was as if two black and white fish had burrowed into the inside of the bell. But the moment the Yin-Yang Universe Array was formed, the power of yin and yang exploded. Wuji gave birth to Tai Chi gave birth to yin and yang, Tai Chi gave birth to yin and yang, Tai Chi gave birth to the 4 divisions, the 4 divisions gave birth to the 8 trigrams, and the 8 trigrams evolved into all things. Immediately, mountains and rivers appeared on the bell, along with the vague images of all the races in the world. It was full of the aura of life. Hell Golden Crow Array. Xia Ping merged into the 4th array formation. This was a mystique that came from his bloodline. It was mysterious, ancient, vast, noble, and chaotic. Endless flame power surged into the bell. Fortunately, this was chaotic pure gold, which had infinite tolerance and was indestructible. Otherwise, ordinary materials would have been burned to ashes in an instant. Soon, the symbol of a sun appeared on the bell. However, it was not just one sun but 2. One was a golden sun, containing endless vitality. It was tolerant and warm, nourishing the growth of all things. It was as if it was a supreme god. Just by appearing, it brought endless prosperity and vitality to all things. The other was a black sun, containing the aura of destruction, death, brutality, madness, evil, darkness, and so on. It was as if it was a combination of all the aura of hell, the peak of all darkness, and the representative of the abyss. Continue. Xia Ping used the incantation and swallowed one pill after another to replenish his vast magical power. After all, carving the 4 array formations was also very exhausting. He rested for a while, then immediately continued to forge magic treasures. One formation after another was broken into by him. The Chaos Thunder Array evolved into Chaos Thunder. It was all-encompassing, as if countless thunderbolts had been merged into the bell. Many lightning talismans appeared on the surface of the bell. The Lion Vajra Array made a golden lion appear on the bell. It roared at the sky, causing the air to tremble. The 7 Fiend Dragon Roar Array made a heavenly dragon appear on the surface of the bell. It soared through the air and swallowed the baleful aura of heaven and earth. The Kunping Array of the north of the Dark Sea. A Kunping flew through the air and swam in the endless sea. It appeared and disappeared from time to time, absorbing the power of space. It also added a transparent protective shield to the bell. It seemed that the bell had the ability to reflect the attacks of any treasures, weapons, and all mystiques. Xiaoping calmly merged the arrays into the bell. 3 days and 3 nights passed in an instant. At this moment he finally merged the last mystique formation into the bell. Buzz, buzz, immediately the bell trembled and let out a sound that announced to the world. The entire planet was trembling, as if it was the first cry of the primordial chaos. The power could be felt from hundreds of light years away. However, this was the foggy star region. The surrounding fog had the power to isolate strange phenomena. Just tens of thousands of kilometers away from the planet was blocked by the fog, unable to penetrate outside. Chapter 1433. This bell floated in front of Xiaoping, circulating the aura of primal chaos. The sun, moon, stars, mountains and rivers appeared on its surface. Vaguely there were thousands of races in the sky. Golden light shone through the ages, and supreme divine power suppressed the void. Xiaoping was satisfied. The power of this magic treasure was beyond his imagination. He had spent almost all his efforts on it. It had just been forged, but it had at least the power of a supreme-grade spiritual tool. It could be said that this was the prototype of a sacred tool. By the way, I have to give this magic treasure a name. Since it is forged from pure chaos gold and has the appearance of a bell, I will call it Chaos Bell. Xiaoping touched his chin. He knew the legendary primordial treasure Chaos Bell. It was a real magic treasure. It was born at the beginning of the chaos. It was infinitely mysterious and had infinite good fortune. It could imprison time and suppress space. It could reflect the attacks of any treasures and weapons, as well as the damage of all magical powers and spells. It had both attack and defense, and it would be invincible. The bell rang mightily, the universe was brilliant, the heaven and earth lost color, and the universe shook. This was the power of the legendary primordial treasure. Although his bell was only in the initial state, it had infinite potential. He was also confident that he could evolve this bell into the power of the real Chaos Bell in the future. Rumble, at this moment, a large dark cloud floated in the sky, covering the entire planet. The dark clouds were frighteningly dark, as if hell had arrived. There was no sunlight. The whole world was filled with a dark and oppressive aura. The wind howled, ghosts wailed, and wolves howled. It was as if the end of the world had arrived, and the aura of calamity filled every corner. Magic treasure calamity. Azure Ox and Corinne both exclaimed. They knew that some magic treasures were too heaven-defying, and they would be punished by heaven. They would be envied by heaven, and they would be punished by heaven and earth. Basically, any magic treasure with the prototype of a sacred tool would encounter the magic treasure calamity. In the beginning, when the mountain river pearl was first formed, it also encountered a calamity. The problem was that they had never seen a magic treasure encounter such a terrible calamity after it was first formed. They saw such power, which was thousands of times stronger than what they had encountered before. What calamity is this? Xiaoping's expression was very solemn. He found that this was not a thunder calamity, a fire calamity, or a water calamity, but a wind calamity. With the Chaos Bell as the center, countless airflows began to appear. These endless airflows gave birth to many vortexes, and the depths of each vortex seemed to transform into peerless beasts. It was as if a great terror was brewing in the vortexes. In the depths of the void, many small black holes also appeared. A large amount of black airflows came out of these black holes, whistling and becoming more and more violent. These black hurricanes even contained a terrifying baleful aura. Within the black baleful aura, one could vaguely hear the sounds of countless swords colliding. It was as if thousands of soldiers and horses were fighting. Master, be careful, this is of the black of. The green ox let out a loud cry as it recognized the black baleful astral wind. It was said that it was a type of astral wind that was born from the depths of the void. It contained terrifying destructive power and could be called a natural disaster. Of the wind and it. Oh, and. Even Golden Core Realm cultivators would retreat when encountering the black baleful gale. Once one's body was corroded by the baleful chi, it would instantly destroy one's Tao foundation, and it might even cause one's body and soul to be annihilated. Whoosh whoosh whoosh. In the blink of an eye, boundless black baleful gales blew over and whistled as they transformed into sabers, swords, spears, halberds and various other weapons that collided with the Bell of Chaos with the intention of completely destroying this magic treasure. Invulnerable. Xiaoping immediately activated the Bell of Chaos. Immediately, the Bell of Chaos trembled, and a transparent light screen immediately surged out from its body. It was densely packed like the patterns of an ancient tortoise shell, covering its entire body without any blind spots. Bang bang bang. In the blink of an eye, the black baleful astral wind bombarded the light screen, immediately causing a clanging sound and a large amount of sparks, like swords colliding. However, no matter how powerful the black fiendish astral wind was, it was unable to break through the thin transparent light screen. All the astral wind power was blocked outside the light screen. Whoosh, the astral winds between heaven and earth seemed to have become even more violent, as if they had been infuriated by the Bell of Chaos arrogance. They whistled and countless vortexes formed, transforming into peerless vicious beasts. These peerless ferocious beasts roared and pounced towards the Bell of Chaos. Come on, Bell of Chaos, vibrate. Xia Ping was unmoved. He circulated his dermic powers and activated another array formation deep inside the Bell of Chaos. It slowly rotated in midair and immediately produced intense vibrations, swaying left and right. Immediately, with the Bell of Chaos as the center, circles of condensed sound waves were produced. They covered the sky and the earth, sweeping in all directions, destroying everything. It was as if a heavenly dragon was roaring, as if a divine lion was roaring. It was also like the first thunder in the beginning of chaos, containing incomparably terrifying destructive power. Immediately, before the peerless ferocious beasts condensed from the black baleful astral wind could reach the periphery of the Bell of Chaos, they were quickly shattered by the sound waves of the Bell of Chaos and turned into pure energy. What a powerful Dharma treasure. This is a sage artifact. The Green Ox and Corinne were both dumbfounded. It had to be known that the black baleful astral wind was an extremely terrifying tribulation. It was a tribulation of Dharma treasures. Ordinary Dharma treasures would be destroyed by the black baleful astral wind and blown into nothingness. However, this Dharma treasure was extremely powerful. Not only was it fine, but it was also extremely tough. It directly shattered the power of the black baleful astral wind. It was incomparably tyrannical. They could completely imagine that as long as the Bell of Chaos grew up, it would not be as simple as an ordinary sage artifact. Even among the many sage artifacts, it would be an extremely top-notch existence. Rumble, sensing that such an attack was ineffective, the power of the tribulation seemed to be even angrier. The power of the black baleful astral wind was almost raised to the limit. Hundreds of thousands of small black holes appeared in the depths of the sky, as if the sky had become riddled with holes. Endless black fiendish astral winds sprayed out from the depths of the black hole. These astral winds transformed into black runes that seemed to possess the essence of power. It was as if there were gods chanting scriptures. Endless runes fell down, destroying heaven and earth. In fact, the power of the astral wind was not only targeted at the Bell of Chaos, but also the owner of the Bell of Chaos. It wanted to completely kill these two rebellious madmen. Dark North Protection Technique. Seeing this, Xia Ping immediately activated the Dark North Protection Technique. At the same time, he communicated with the power deep inside the Bell of Chaos. It immediately floated above Xia Ping's head and rotated. At the same time, a five-colored light curtain fell from the top of his head and surrounded Xia Ping tightly, as if it had turned into an absolute domain. It had the characteristics of being invincible and invincible. Bang bang bang. One after another, the black astral wind talismans fell, like billions of stars destroying the Chaos continent. Countless planets crashed, countless gods and demons roared, and all of them bombarded Xia Ping's body. However, the defensive power of this five-colored light curtain was too powerful. Even if billions of black runes fell and smashed into the five-colored light curtain, they could not break through it at all. As the power of the black astral wind fell, it was constantly sharpened, making the Bell of Chaos even more magical. It was originally a raw stone, but under the tempering of the black baleful astral wind, it allowed the heaven and earth array to completely integrate into the depths of the Bell of Chaos, and wisps of chaos airflow circulated inside the magic treasure. At the same time, Xia Ping's body also underwent earth-shaking changes. After such tempering, his soul fire burned more thoroughly. It was originally a small cluster, but now it was a large cluster. In the end, it turned into a raging fire, as if his soul was completely burning. Chapter 1434. At that moment, outside the planet where Xia Ping was going through the tribulation, a black spaceship was cruising over slowly. The black spaceship seemed to be engraved with dense mysterious inscriptions, emitting an incredible power that made the surrounding fog retreat, unable to corrode the power inside the spaceship. Captain. Suddenly, a crew member in the spaceship pointed at the monitor screen and said immediately, "There's something wrong with the primitive planet ahead. It seems that the power of the tribulation has arrived. Someone is going through the tribulation." He could see the dark clouds above the planet and there were small black holes everywhere. Countless black winds were surging, and the aura was like a dragon, like a natural disaster. A middle-aged man sitting in the captain's seat had a glimmer of light in his eyes, emitting a terrifying aura at the peak of the true fire realm. It was as if every cell in his body was burning with fire, containing terrifying power. It's the tribulation of a magical treasure. It's the Black Malice Gale. Who made such an incredible magical treasure that they have to go through the tribulation of a magical treasure. There's no doubt that this is a sign of a divine weapon. His eyes were filled with shock and doubt, but at the same time he revealed an ecstatic expression. Divine weapon. Hearing this, all the crew members in the spaceship were shocked, as if they had received a great shock. Captain, according to the spaceship's detection, there's only one person on the peak of the treasure refinement realm. Is probably this person who made that magical treasure. The crew member immediately activated the spaceship's detection system and obtained a lot of information. Great, this is great. The middle-aged man suddenly stood up from the chair. As the pioneer team of the Lost People, we have been sailing in the Fogstar region for many years, hoping to find a way to leave the Fogstar region. Although no one has ever left the Fogstar region, nor can they leave such a dangerous place, we have accumulated a lot of experience through the sacrifices of previous pioneers. One day we will walk out of this damn place. However, I think there's only one reason why our ancestors can't leave the Fogstar region, and that is power. Because they are too weak, they will always die in all kinds of dangers. However, it's different now. If we can get that magical treasure that has the potential to become a divine weapon, we can cultivate it, and in time, it will definitely become a real divine weapon. He stared at the screen of the spaceship, revealing a blazing ambition. I believe everyone knows the power of a saint artifact. It is a true weapon of slaughter. It contains boundless power that can shake the heavens and the earth. Even if it's a weak person, as long as they have a saint artifact, they can kill many fierce beasts in the universe and be invincible. If we can get our hands on a sacred artifact, we will be able to move about freely in the Bewilderment Star region. Even finding a way out of the Bewilderment Star region will not be impossible. There is a high chance of success. Hearing this, many of the crew members were tempted, their eyes filled with greed. Since ancient times, the Bewilderment Fogstar region had been a perilous place in the universe. Over the years, there had always been some unlucky fellows who accidentally entered the Bewilderment Fogstar region and got lost in the star region. Most of them died, but a small number of extremely lucky humans found a habitable planet in the dense Fogstar region and survived. They even took root and thrived. However, they could never forget where they used to live. Therefore, they called themselves the Lost Ones and swore that one day they would leave the Bewilderment Fogstar region and return to the real universe. The problem was that the Bewilderment Fogstar region was too dangerous. If they were not careful, even sages could get lost and be trapped in the Bewilderment Fogstar region forever. How could these ordinary people escape? Therefore, for countless years, they had been trapped in the Bewilderment Fogstar region. Even though many pioneers tried to find a way out, they were either lost in the endless fog or killed by the fierce beasts in the universe that happened to pass by. However, even though countless pioneers died and some people gave up on leaving the Bewilderment Fogstar region, there were still some people who wanted to take risks and leave the Bewilderment Fogstar region. The captain of this spaceship, Wei Dong, was someone who was unwilling to be trapped in the Bewilderment Fogstar region. Captain, what do you mean? A crew member looked at Captain Wei Dong. Needless to say, of course we're going to kill that kid immediately. As the saying goes, a man is innocent, but a treasure gets him into trouble. Captain Wei Dong revealed a cold smile. A small treasure refinement realm cultivator actually obtained a Dharma treasure that has the potential of a divine artifact. Can a nobody like him keep such a Dharma treasure? A terrifying murderous aura emanated from his body. Captain, the Black Devil Astral Wind's aura seems to have weakened. That kid seems to be about to pass the Black Devil Astral Wind tribulation. What should we do? A crew member exclaimed. What? He's about to pass the Black Devil Astral Wind tribulation so soon? Once he passes the Black Devil Astral Wind tribulation, that Dharma treasure's power will definitely increase greatly. Captain Wei Dong shouted, all crew members listen up. Enter this planet immediately and get close to that kid. Attack with all your might. Blast away the obstruction of the Black Devil astral wind, charge into the center of the storm and kill him on the spot. Kill him while he's down. He gave the order. The spaceship immediately started and rushed into the primitive planet. The Black Devil astral wind was too terrifying. Every airflow had the power to tear the spaceship apart. The spaceship could not get close at all. Otherwise the spaceship would be destroyed and the people on board would die. Therefore they parked the spaceship nearby and rushed out of the spaceship. Whoosh whoosh whoosh. In an instant hundreds of people rushed out. Among them there was no lack of cultivators at the True Fire Realm. The strongest was undoubtedly Captain Wei Dong, who was at the peak of the True Fire Realm. At this moment, the aura of the Black Devil astral wind in the sky was getting weaker and weaker. The sound of the wind was also much weaker than when it was at its peak. Xia Ping could sense that he was about to pass the Black Devil astral wind tribulation. Even his spiritual fire was burning. The moment he passed the tribulation would be the moment he truly stepped into the True Fire Realm. Xia Ping's eyes flashed with a cold light. His divine consciousness could sense that a group of people was coming from afar. They were powerful and filled with a strong murderous intent. They were trying to take advantage of this moment to attack and destroy his opportunity to advance. Human tribulation, the human tribulation has come. Green Ox and Corinne's expressions were solemn. They knew that the tribulation of a Dharma treasure was not only a heavenly tribulation but also a human tribulation. The power of the tribulation of a Dharma treasure would cause the heavens and earth to shake and attract the attention of countless people. Fortunately, Xia Ping was forging the Dharma treasure in the fog star field. If he was still in an ordinary star field, he would probably attract the attention of the sages. At that time, the power of the human tribulation would be even more terrifying. It was far from what the heavenly tribulation could compare to. Scram immediately. Xia Ping transmitted his voice to the surroundings. Don't stop me from passing the tribulation. Otherwise, when I am free, you will definitely die without a burial place. Blood will flow like a river. Don't make a mistake. What? Chapter 1435. Wei Dong laughed as if he had heard the funniest joke in the world. I, Wei Dong, am a lost person. I reached the pinnacle of the True Fire Realm at the age of 100. No matter where I go, I would be considered a genius. Sadly, I am trapped in a place like the Fog Star Field. No matter how hard I train, it is difficult for me to improve. But now, my luck has taken a turn for the better. A minor treasure refinement cultivator has appeared before me with a magic treasure with the potential of a sacred artifact. This is a great fortuitous encounter, an eternal opportunity. If I kill you and take this treasure, I will be able to cultivate it into a real holy treasure. I will be able to kill space beasts, form a golden core, dominate the Fog Star Field, and obtain supreme status. How dare you tell me to get lost? Do you think that is possible? Saying this, he looked at Xia Ping sarcastically. Kid, a man's wealth is his own ruin. If you want to blame something, blame your bad luck for meeting me. When you go to hell, don't forget to tell the king of hell who killed you. Go tear apart the black murderous wind and kill this kid. At his command, hundreds of crew members immediately attacked. Among them were a dozen True Fire Realm cultivators, dozens of Treasure Refinement Realm cultivators, and the rest were Mystic Realm cultivators. They attacked at the same time. Their mana trembled and condensed into a torrent of mana. It was like a great river surging over and bombarding Xia Ping, who was in the center of the storm. Bang! Immediately, the surrounding storm was shattered by this power, and a tunnel was blasted open. The group of people took this opportunity to attack and came before Xia Ping. Could die. Captain Wei Dong roared. He pulled out a long spear. It was an upper spiritual weapon. A terrifying aura exploded from his body. All his mana burned and tore apart the wind. He attacked ruthlessly. The long spear stabbed towards Xia Ping in an instant. It crossed the sky and the tip of the spear contained a powerful matrix. It was as if the chi of heaven and earth had gathered together and exploded with a terrifying sharpness. Martial Path Mystic Art, Death Ray Spear. This spear was extremely terrifying. Powerful mana came from Wei Dong and a black light shot out from the tip of the spear. It contained an endless aura of death and destruction that destroyed everything. The Deathlight Spear was an extremely terrifying martial arts mystique. It was a spear mystique created by lost people who had spent countless years fighting with countless ferocious beasts in the universe. This was because the vitality of space beasts was simply too strong. It was more than 1,000 times that of ordinary humans. Ordinary martial arts techniques were nothing to these beasts. Therefore, the Deathlight Spear was a spear technique created by many humans to deal with the beasts in the universe. Once it pierced the bodies of these beasts, the endless death aura would rapidly rob the beasts of their vitality. In a few breaths of time, these cosmic beasts would be killed and their souls destroyed. This was the might of the Deathlight Spear, and it reigned supreme over many martial arts mystic arts. Of course, it was extremely difficult to cultivate as well. One had to absorb the aura of death, darkness, slaughter, and so on to refine one's body. Every circulation was like being sliced by 1,000 blades, as if one had fallen into hell. One had to endure endless pain in order to be able to cultivate it successfully. At the same time, the crew members also started a fierce battle against Xia Ping. All kinds of martial arts mystiques were blasted out. In an instant, the heaven and earth shook and the mana was chaotic. Thousands of rays of light, thousands of arrays, and all kinds of mystic arts and mana shook as if they were going to collapse the sky. Everywhere was shaking and the entire planet was trembling. Xia Ping stood in midair as if he was a sheep waiting to be slaughtered. He had no ability to resist. Just as these attacks hit Xia Ping, the Bell of Chaos immediately shook and activated a layer of 5-colored energy shield. This seemed to be an absolute domain. The space barrier covered a radius of several miles without any blind spots. Dong. Suddenly, a sound that was like the morning bell and evening drums sounded. It was also like raindrops hitting on a glass window. No matter how strong these martial arts mystiques were, they could not break through this space barrier. Even the power of the Deathlight Spear was not enough. The death aura could not break through this barrier at all and was completely blocked. On the contrary, such an attack was like thousands of giant hammers constantly hitting the Bell of Chaos, causing every part of the Bell of Chaos to become more solid, eliminating impurities, tempering the body, making it emit a huge treasure light and constantly evolve. Xia Ping's body also operated the Dark North Protection technique, devouring and digesting this huge energy. The mana in his body also reached the peak at this moment. At the same time, his soul fire also burned to the extreme. It was originally just a cluster of fire burning everywhere, but at this moment, his soul turned into a sun burning fiercely. Even because the power of his divine sense was too terrifying, far beyond the true fire realm, even Golden Core realm cultivators could not compare, and could already reach the level where the soul could affect the material world. When Xia Ping's divine sense completely turned into the spiritual fire, because the power of his divine sense was too powerful, it actually produced a vision of heaven and earth. A terrifying round sun rose into the sky, vast and mighty, and golden light was tens of thousands of feet. With his body as the center, a terrifying heat was immediately produced, as if it could burn everything. Even in the depths of the sun formed by the spiritual fire, there seemed to be countless visions. There was the Hell Golden Crow, Kuan Peng, True Dragon, Divine Lion, Palace, Hell, Thunder and so on. It contained infinite power, as if there was yin and yang, life and death, as well as the operation of the universe, life and death, endless mystery. True Fire Realm. At this moment, Xia Ping finally completely stepped into the early stage of True Fire Realm, stepping into a new realm. This? No way he actually broke through to the True Fire Realm directly? This is too terrifying. What kind of terrifying divine sense power is this? He just ignited the spiritual fire and it actually produced such a vision, shaking heaven and earth. How powerful is his divine sense? When I advanced to the True Fire Realm, I only had a spiritual fire the size of a palm, but what is going on with him? He actually condensed a sun. This is too exaggerated. Is he still human? Damn, is this kid also a lost person? Why have I never seen such a powerful person before? What is his background? Wei Dong and the rest were dumbfounded, inexplicably shocked. They had never seen such a terrifying True Fire Realm cultivator. The power of this divine sense was earth-shattering, and when it started burning, they felt as if they were about to be burned alive before it even got close. Of course, they also knew that this was only because the other party's soul power was too strong, which affected their souls and produced such an illusion. What made them even more frightened was that this was an unconscious effect. If the other party really targeted them, they would probably sink completely and a thought could kill them. Chapter 1436. How wonderful! Xia Ping stood in midair. He could feel that he had stepped into the True Fire Realm. All of his divine senses had transformed into spiritual fire, turning into a sun that burned brightly in his purple mansion. He realized that the moment he had formed the spiritual fire, the entire world had undergone a huge change. It was as if his perception of the chi of heaven and earth had become more acute. With just a slight movement of his divine senses, the power of heaven and earth could be easily used by him. He could also feel the power of the stars in the depths of the endless galaxy permeating the void. His control of mana had also increased by more than 10 times. Every inch of his spiritual power could permeate the depths of his mana. This was true mastery, perfect mastery. It could be said that the current Xia Ping would be able to unleash 10 times the attack power of the past with 1/10 of his strength. This was the terrifying power of perfect mastery. The more immersed he was in the spiritual fire, the more Xia Ping could feel the power of the spiritual fire. Wisps of spiritual fire seeped into every corner of his body and into the depths of his mana. He could feel that as long as he ignited the spiritual fire, he could immediately ignite his mana. His skin, muscles, bones, and even his hair could turn into flames. This was true elementalization, turning him into a flaming creature. In this state, his strength was more than 10 times his usual state, and so was his destructive power. This was the desperate move of a true Fire Realm cultivator. Once he ignited his mana, the destructive power he could unleash was extremely terrifying, like a human-shaped natural disaster. My mana has increased too. Xia Ping clenched his fists. When he had stepped into the true Fire Realm, his purple mansion had also received the help of a mysterious power, constantly expanding outwards and opening up space. His purple mansion had also become extremely huge, expanding to more than 100,000 kilometers. A vast amount of mana flowed in the purple mansion, turning into a vast ocean. Without a doubt, the perception range of his divine senses had also reached 100,000 kilometers. And this was just the beginning. As the spiritual fire continued to expand, his perception range became even more terrifying. Because the purple mansion had expanded, the mana in his body was shockingly dense. It was as if it had become a huge source of power of heaven and earth, with the power of an ancient giant. Every move of his had the power to activate the power of heaven and earth. The Golden Crow of Hell bloodline has also been strengthened. Xia Ping could feel the Golden Crow cells in his body being unsealed. 1,000, 10,000, 20,000, 50,000. In the end, he had awakened 100,000 Golden Crow cells. At the moment, he had awakened a total of 800,000 Golden Crow cells, and his body contained the terrifying power of the Golden Crow of Hell. Not only was his blood a dark gold color, but even his skin had a faint dark gold color. The blood in his body was surging, as if there were many little golden crows flying in his body. His body was also filled with an ancient, noble, chaotic, primitive, and other aura. He was like an ancient god. Ordinary people didn't even dare to look directly at this kind of light, because they were completely unable to withstand this kind of majesty. So hungry. Having just advanced to the true Fire Realm, Xia Ping felt the lack of energy in his body. It was as if every cell in his body was in a state of extreme hunger, and his body was filled with the desire to devour. He opened his eyes and took a deep breath. Woo, woo. This breath was simply like the birth of a primordial Kunpeng, and it was like a whale swallowing up everything, producing a boundless suction force. It was also like his mouth had transformed into a terrifying black hole, devouring everything. Instantly, the heavens and earth shook and the entire planet was shaking. The land was trembling, the seawater was surging, and the void was trembling. The black, baleful astral winds in a radius of 10,000 miles were all sucked into his body. This energy rapidly fused into the depths of his dantian as a sun furnace appeared. It instantly began to burn and refine the astral winds, transforming them into boundless energy. And this energy also rapidly nourished every cell in his body, entering the purple mansion space. This also nourished the parched land in the purple mansion space, and it was like a dew after a long drought. The water level kept rising. What? Wei Dong and the others were scared half to death. This breath was extremely shocking and it was earth-shattering. It actually devoured the tyrannical black fiendish astral winds cleanly, not leaving a single drop behind. The sky became clear again. At this moment, the dark clouds that enveloped this planet had also disappeared, and the previous calmness was restored. Many lost people were scared half to death and their bodies were trembling. Such a terrifying heavenly tribulation had actually dissipated just like that, eaten alive by Xia Ping. It was so terrifying that there was no end to it. They could feel the terrifying energy contained in this kid's body, and he was not someone they could provoke. Captain? Many people turned their heads and looked at their captain, wanting to know what they should do next. However, all of their hearts were beating the drums of retreat. Becoming enemies with such a monster was an irrational action. Wei Dong gnashed his teeth. He naturally could feel the threat from Xia Ping, but he was also unwilling to give up that tyrannical treasure. He wanted to snatch it away. After all, this was a treasure that had the potential to become a saint treasure. If he missed this chance, he would never have another chance. But before Wei Dong could say anything, Xia Ping suddenly opened his eyes. Countless runes circulated in the depths of his eyes, as though there was a sun residing in the depths of his eyes, burning eternally. Retreat. Upon seeing this, Wei Dong's hair stood on end as his entire body turned cold. Under such an ice-cold gaze, all his desires vanished cleanly. These weren't the eyes of a human but the eyes of a god. They were lofty and aloof, cold and emotionless. When he looked at them, it was as though he was looking at ants crawling on the ground. Just as Wei Dong was about to escape, Xia Ping made his move. A palm came from afar. This palm was ever-changing, containing the power of yin and yang, the power of chaos, and the power of heaven and earth. It was as though the existence of the hand of creation had grasped the true meaning of the universe, the power of the world, and was supreme. Ah! Wei Dong roared. He was crazy to the extreme. He immediately burned the magic power in his body, unleashing the most terrifying spear attack of his life. It was as though every inch of magic power in his body had been converted into the aura of death. A death ray as thick as a water bucket struck out like a rainbow piercing through the sun, attempting to block this palm strike. But when this palm came, the death ray was instantly smashed into powder, obliterated in the yin-yang millstone. The long spear was also sent flying. The weapon spirit let out a scream, heavily injured on the spot. The palm slapped down fiercely, bombarding Wei Dong's body. It was just a light slap. Bang. You. Wei Dong's eyes widened and his body retreated continuously. Endless fear, unwillingness, regret, and other emotions were revealed in the depths of his eyes. He stared at Xia Ping in the distance. In the next second, his body exploded like a watermelon, turning into countless pieces. A large amount of blood sprayed out, dyeing the ground red. Chapter 1437. Dead? The crew members present were all shocked and dumbfounded. They looked at each other. When they saw Captain Wei Dong being smashed into pieces, they were scared out of their wits and their minds went blank. They did not know what they should do at the moment and looked at Xia Ping in front of them, dumbfounded. They were originally here to kill a rabbit, but they did not expect the rabbit to be so fierce. It kicked their captain to death. This was not a rabbit, but a tiger in a rabbit's skin. I told you to scram just now but you didn't. You even wanted to kill me. Since that's the case, all of you can go to hell, Xia Ping said calmly. He looked at the crowd indifferently without any emotion. He would never show mercy to an enemy who wanted to kill him. He had warned this group of people before but they did not know how to cherish it. They were still stubborn. It would not be a pity even if they died and he would not forgive them either. Run quickly. Return to the spaceship immediately. We are no match for this devil. A crew member in the True Fire realm immediately shouted. He was the vice captain and the person who realized it the fastest. As soon as he finished speaking, he immediately flew into the air like a big bird, quickly flying towards the spaceship. This speed was almost the limit of his life. Hearing these words, the surrounding crew members did not hesitate and fled in all directions. Even Captain Wei Dong was killed with a single slap. They, as small fries, would not fare any better. If they did not escape now, were they going to stay and wait for death? However, just as the vice captain flew into the air, Xia Ping's figure flashed and appeared in front of him in an instant. No. The vice captain looked at Xia Ping in horror and screamed, trying to beg for mercy. However, Xia Ping did not intend to let the vice captain speak. He punched through the air. With just one punch, his body was smashed into a pile of minced meat and exploded on the spot. Vice captain. Many crew members shouted in horror. They knew that the vice captain was in the middle stage of the True Fire realm. His strength was second only to Captain Wei Dong, and his combat power was strong. But now, he had been blown apart by a single punch from this fiend before him. He died without a complete corpse, his body cracked like an egg. This combat power was terrifying to the point of being a complete mess. All of you stay here. Xia Ping threw a punch at the group of lost people. He did not use any mystique of the martial way. All he did was gather the powers in his body. It was a simple and ordinary punch. However, this fist was just too terrifying. It was as if an archaic divine beast had awakened, and it contained boundless power. It was also like the roar of a heavenly dragon, shaking heaven and earth. In the blink of an eye, the fist energy pierced through the sky, and the surrounding area within 100 miles was turned into a vacuum state. All the airflow was blasted away, madly compressed and repelled in all directions. Bang bang bang. Hundreds of lost people let out shrill screams. The speed of the punch was too fast. They couldn't react at all. When the punch landed on their bodies, it was like being crushed by a terrifying wall of chi. In just a breath's time, they were crushed into a mist of blood and disappeared from this world just like that. Even the surrounding mountains were flattened by this punch, and a deep crater with a diameter of over 100 kilometers appeared. The earth trembled and even the rocks were turned into dust. A series of terrifying cracks appeared, extending for thousands of miles, and a deep canyon appeared. The scene was shocking, and the surroundings were filled with a terrifying malevolent aura. Too weak. They're all dead before I can even do anything. Xiaoping stood in the void with his hands behind his back. He felt that the power in his body was too strong. He was like a divine beast that had killed the group of lost people with just a little bit of strength. Those below the golden elixir realm probably wouldn't be able to take a punch from him, and would turn into ashes instantly. At this moment, there was a spaceship of lost people in mid-air. Although most of the lost people had come out to kill Xiaoping, there was still a small portion of them who stayed in the spaceship to prevent any accidents from happening. They had also seen this terrifying scene. Oh my god, this demon is too terrifying. Captain, the deputy captain and the rest are dead. All of them are dead. With just one punch, he turned the captain and the rest into a mist of blood. He didn't even use any magical treasures. This can't just be a true fire realm cultivator. He's definitely at the golden elixir realm. This is a powerful golden elixir realm. He's just pretending to be weak. We've been tricked. Run quickly. If we're targeted by this monster, we'll definitely die. Greed kills. I told you that we shouldn't have come to this planet. We shouldn't have been greedy. What's the point of saying all this now? It's too late. Many lost people were panicking. They were extremely regretful. If they hadn't been greedy for that magical treasure, they wouldn't have died in this place and wouldn't have faced such a desperate situation. However, it was too late to say anything now. They stopped talking and immediately steered the spaceship. They activated the maximum power and flew toward the planet's atmosphere, wanting to leave this extremely dangerous planet as soon as possible. Bell of Chaos. Xiaoping glanced sideways. With a thought, powerful dermic powers erupted and instilled into the Bell of Chaos above his head. Immediately, deep inside the Bell of Chaos, heaven and earth arrays appeared one after another. There seemed to be countless runes intertwining, and there seemed to be chains of order appearing. Buzz buzz, the Bell of Chaos shook left and right, immediately erupting with a loud sound. With its body as the center, waves of terrifying sound waves spread out. They condensed into substance and swept into the distance like waves. The speed of such sound waves was really too fast. It was even comparable to the speed of divine senses. With just a thought from Xiaoping, the power of the sound waves affected the spaceship. Originally, the spaceship was about to leave the atmosphere. However, before the lost people could be happy for a second, the colorless and invisible sound waves covered the entire spaceship. Bang, bang, bang. The lost people didn't even have time to scream. Their eyes were wide open, and their entire bodies were shaken into a cloud of blood mist. They disappeared from this world just like that. Moreover, such an attack was only aimed at life. It didn't destroy every part of the spaceship. It was still intact. However, without anyone controlling it, the spaceship seemed to have lost control and fell from the sky just like that. Whoosh. Seeing this, Xiaoping's figure flashed. He immediately went forward and held the spaceship with one hand. Then he slowly placed it on the ground. I wonder what's in this spaceship. He was very interested in this spaceship because it was the spaceship of the lost people. They seemed to be people living in this star field. Chapter 1438. Found it. Xiaoping entered the lost spaceship to look for some information. Soon he found a star navigation map on the spaceship. It was a detailed map of a part of the fog star field. This map was the information that the lost people had obtained after many years and sacrificed a lot of blood. It could be said to be extremely important. Planet 5 Elements. Xiaoping's eyes lit up. He found that the star navigation map showed the most mysterious planet with life. It was also the base camp of many lost people. It was called Planet 5 Elements. According to the description, this planet was extremely special. It contained rich 5 elements power and produced a lot of 5 elements essence. It was equivalent to a paradise. Even in the universe, it was an incredible planet. It was rich in resources and inhabited by countless 5 elemental savage beasts. Furthermore, the size of the planet was huge. Good place. Xiaoping was very excited. The 5 elements essence was a supreme treasure for any cultivator. It could help cultivators cultivate quickly and improve their martial arts cultivation. The reason why the Lost People improved so quickly and had a lot of resources to explore the fog star field was also because of the 5 elements essence on this planet. At the same time, the existence of this planet gave these lost people a safe nest. They didn't have to worry about being devoured by the dangers of the fog star field or being killed by space beasts. This planet seems a little strange. Xiaoping narrowed his eyes. Normally, a planet with such rich resources would become the prey of space beasts. It would even be swallowed by the overlord of the universe and become cosmic fertilizer. However, this special planet stayed in the fog star field. Not only did it not have any space beasts attacking it, but it also didn't encounter any danger. It was as if it was a safe zone in the fog star field. According to the years of exploration by the Lost People, they found that this planet was indeed very special. It constantly emitted fluctuations that made countless space beasts avoid it. As a result, the surrounding space beasts didn't dare to approach it. It could even conceal its presence, preventing the powerful overlord dire beasts from discovering its existence. That was why the Lost Ones were able to live safely on this planet. In fact, there were many life planets in the fog star field that were suitable for human habitation. The problem was that these planets were surrounded by a large number of space beasts. Once a lost person appeared on these planets, they would immediately be killed by the beasts and become food. Once upon a time these planets might have had life, but now they were all gone. They had all become food for the space beast, so no one lived on these planets. 5 Elements Planet. Corinne also saw the starry sky map and immediately said, "This is the place, the location of the treasures of the myriad stars sect." He looked at Xiaoping with excitement as he found the destination. What? Hearing this, Xiaoping's eyes immediately lit up. It was really a case of searching high and low only to find it effortlessly. Originally, he thought that it would take a long time to find the hidden treasure. However, he didn't expect to find it so quickly. According to the star map, it would only take a few days to reach it. It wasn't very far from this place. Looks like we have to hurry up. Slime, come back. Thinking of this, Xiaoping immediately summoned the golden slime with his will, letting it return from space. Whoosh. Immediately, the golden slime sensed Xiaoping's call. In the blink of an eye, it flew over from afar and entered the atmosphere, piercing through the airflow like a sharp sword. With a bang, it turned into a sharp blade and instantly inserted itself into the ground, producing a terrifying impact. An astonishing crack appeared on the ground, tearing apart hundreds of kilometers with a cracking sound. Xiaoping could sense that the golden slime was completely different from a few days ago. Its aura was much stronger than before. One after another, heaven and earth formations appeared on the blade of the sword, emitting sharp sword chi. It was as if it could even cut through space. Vaguely, the blade itself was also circulating with countless ancient magical runes. From time to time, it would devour the golden heptachi of heaven and earth, as if it was the ruler of the sword path, containing an extremely destructive aura. Looks like it has devoured a lot of good things. Xiaoping smiled slightly. At this time, the golden slime transmitted a thought to him, telling him what had happened in the past few days. In fact, in the past few days, the golden slime had used its doppelgangers, splitting into 100,000 doppelgangers and covering the surrounding planets. It had continuously devoured those metal planets and digested a large amount of metal. Even the countless battleship fragments floating nearby had been devoured by the golden slime. It must be known that these battleship fragments were forged from precious metals, such as mica steel, star steel, 10,000-year-old cold steel, black crystal, purple silver, adamantine, and many other precious metal ores. Every type of metal was extremely precious and valuable. If one wanted to buy them in the outside world, one would have to pay a huge price. However, these precious metals seemed to be everywhere in this star region as if they were free. Thanks to the devouring of these materials, the golden slime had undergone a huge evolution. Not only had its strength increased, even its materials had become much stronger, tougher, and indestructible. If the golden slime had only been a mid-grade spiritual treasure before, then it had now evolved into a high-grade spiritual treasure, and its strength had increased by more than a level. This was no longer just a treasure sword, but also a trace of the embryonic form of a sacred sword. Endless Battle Blade. Xia Ping held the sharp blade with his right hand, channeled all the magic power in his body into it, and slashed out into the distance. Bang bang bang. In the blink of an eye, a sword array spanning over 1,000 kilometers appeared. Endless Gingjin Qi of the world gathered together and sharp blades shot out from the ground. It was as if the area within a radius of 500 kilometers had turned into a hell of swords, emitting a terrifying cold light. Every blade swayed and buzzed as sword energy rampaged. Tens of thousands of sword energy beams erupted at the same time, unleashing a world-destroying power. Within the area covered by the sword array, mountains after mountains were shredded by the sword energy, collapsing and flattening. Such power. Xia Ping was overjoyed. The power of the Endless Battle Blade was now at least 10 times stronger than before. Not only did the number of blades it could split out increase by several times, but the power of the sword energy had also become even more terrifying. Just a single sword energy wave was enough to slice a 1,000 zhang tall mountain in half and flatten it. Even a battleship would not be able to withstand such a sword energy wave and would be instantly sliced into over 10 pieces. Having obtained such a treasure, he was like a tiger that had grown wings. Let's eat this battleship and leave. Chapter 1439. A few days later, stars followed the star navigation map of the lost people and traveled quickly along the surrounding planets. They encountered some space beasts along the way, but they managed to avoid them. "We're here," Corinne said. Xia Ping woke up from his closed-door cultivation and took a deep breath. The qi of heaven and earth gathered into his body. All the blood in his body was boiling, and his heart was beating like a morning bell. After a few days of cultivation, he had completely consolidated his early-stage true fire realm cultivation. Even the dermic powers in his body had increased by a large margin, and his strength was much stronger. At the same time, the life dharma treasure, the Bell of Chaos, that he had refined, had been successfully condensed. He kept it in his body and nurtured it day and night, forging a supreme sage weapon foundation. In time, the Bell of Chaos would definitely become an earth-shattering dharma treasure. This is the Five Elements planet? Through the virtual projection, Xia Ping saw a huge planet appear in front of him. This planet was extremely huge, just like the sun. It looked vast and boundless, and humans who stayed on this planet were just like ants. What shocked him the most was that this planet contained extremely rich five elements qi. It was divided into the five elements of metal, wood, water, fire, and earth, covering every corner of this planet. Moreover, these five elements were extremely rich, to the extent that they were visible to the naked eye. Gold, green, red, yellow, blue, and other colors interweaved and mixed together. Xia Ping's eyes lit up, and there seemed to be an array rotating in the depths of his pupils. The power of the Hell Golden Crow's eye was activated, piercing through the void and observing the mysteries in the depths of the void. Vaguely, he seemed to see an ancient and complicated heaven and earth formation deep inside the planet. The powers of metal, wood, water, fire, and earth gathered together to form the five element sky dragons. These heavenly dragons were extremely huge, and their bodies wrapped around the planet. From the beginning to the end, it was like a chain of order, sealing the planet. Even the slightest bit of power in the depths of the planet could not be released from the depths. "There's an array that seals this planet." Xia Ping frowned. "What array is this?" He could tell that this formation was profound and mysterious. It could not have been set up by anyone but a saint. It was extremely terrifying. There was a faint, heart-palpitating aura coming from the depths of the planet. That's right. There is indeed a formation on this planet. It's called the Five Elements Sky Dragon Demon Sealing Formation. It was personally set up by the Old Master to completely seal this planet. Corinne nodded his head. "Why seal it? Is there a peerless demon inside?" Xia Ping asked curiously. Corinne shook his head. "Of course not. If there are demons, they can be directly eliminated and not sealed. In fact, this planet has a big secret. Actually, this is also the reason why Old Master placed the myriad star sex treasure in this place." Xia Ping became even more curious and asked, "What secret?" "This planet is actually alive, and it is a great life form," Corinne earnestly said. Xia Ping raised his eyebrows. "What do you mean?" He looked at Corinne in confusion. "What?" However, the green ox revealed a shocked expression. Clearly he thought of something and said, "It's a great being? No way, do you mean that this planet is a member of the Gaia race?" He looked at Corinne in disbelief. Gaia race. Xiaoping blinked his eyes and looked at the two artifact spirits. Yes, it is actually the Gaia race, a member of the universe's peak race. Corinne nodded. When Old Master entered the fog star field to explore, he inadvertently discovered this Gaia race. He was wild with joy and completely sealed the Gaia race. He hoped to use time to make the Gaia race surrender and acknowledge his status as the master. After all, once the Gaia race is willing to surrender, it would be like adding wings to a tiger for a saint. Xiaoping asked carefully, wanting to know what race the Gaia race was. Corinne immediately said that the Gaia race was one of the strongest races in the universe. Its main body was a planet. Simply put, it was a planet that had developed self-awareness. This was Gaia. The Gaia race could not reproduce, so they were basically born naturally. Even the Gaia race itself did not know which corner of the universe their race would appear in. The problem was that among the billions of stars in the universe, the number of planets that could give birth to Gaia consciousness was simply 1 in a billion. Sometimes, it was normal for a Gaia race to not appear for hundreds of millions of years. However, even if it was extremely difficult to be born, it could not be denied that the Gaia race was blessed by heaven. They had an endless lifespan. Once they were born, they would at least have a lifespan of more than 15 billion years. Moreover, they did not need to cultivate. They just needed to sleep. With the passage of time, they would naturally step into the sage realm. As long as the Gaia race lived long enough, they would be an extremely terrifying existence. They were ancient life forms that contained terrifying power. It could be said that as long as the Gaia race was born, it would definitely be a sage realm powerhouse in the future. In fact, if it were not for the fact that the Gaia race was too few in number and that they liked to sleep for hundreds of millions of years and did not like to contend for hegemony, they might be the strongest race in the universe. They actually found a Gaia. Their luck is really good. Is this the trump card of the multitude star sect? The green ox did not dare to believe it. Even his master, the mountain river sage, did not have such good luck to find a Gaia. Once Gaia became his helper, it would not be as simple as adding wings to a tiger. It would be like having a super fighter, a tyrannical backing, and the kind that would be invincible. After all, a matured Gaia would be extremely terrifying. Even if it could not kill the enemy would not be able to kill it either. Even if a Gaia star ball was smashed into pieces, as long as there was a little bit of dust left, it could be restored again. This was an immortal existence. Basically, not many sages would provoke the sages of the Gaia race. It is indeed a trump card. The problem is that it is not that simple to make Gaia surrender. Even when the old master sealed Gaia for hundreds of millions of years, he still could not make Gaia surrender. Corinne shook his head and sighed. If Gaia was willing to surrender, his old master might not have died. However, it was too late to say anything now. What a great opportunity. Xiaoping was extremely excited and ecstatic. The multitude star sect master could not make Gaia surrender, but it did not mean that he could not. After all, he had the soul seal, a supreme spiritual secret technique. Once he used it, he could immediately make Gaia become his loyal subordinate. One had to know that even the Blood Soul Sage did not have a loyal subordinate of the Gaia race. After all, the number of Gaia that appeared was too small. Once Gaia fell asleep, the sage would not be able to know if this planet belonged to the Gaia race. Chapter 1440. Where is the treasure of the Myriad Stars sect? Xiaoping immediately asked, looking at Corinne. It is in the deepest part of this planet, sealed in a great array. If you want to get the treasure, you must completely control the 5-element Sky Dragon Demon sealing great array, Corinne said in a deep voice. Completely control this great array? Xiaoping frowned. This was a super array incomparably complex and tyrannical. It was basically impossible for him to completely control it with his current strength. You don't need to worry. In fact, the old master had already thought of this, so he arranged 5 elements temples on this planet. Corinne said, each temple has a 5-element spirit talisman. If you can collect these 5 talismans and fuse them into one, you will naturally be able to completely control this great array. 5-element spirit talisman? Xiaoping raised his eyebrows. So, if other people find the 5-element spirit talisman, doesn't it mean that they also have hope to control this 5-element Sky Dragon Demon sealing great array? In theory, it is indeed feasible. The problem is that every 5-element spirit talisman has been tampered with by the old master. Those who don't cultivate the star-guiding art can't refine it. Corinne said, of course, if these talismans are obtained by the sages, they still have a way to crack the little tricks left by the old master. After all, the power of the sages is still very terrifying. However, this is the fog star field. Even the sages don't dare to wander around, so it is still impossible for the sages to come to this planet. In fact, the 5-element Sky Dragon Demon Sealing Great Array hasn't been destroyed, which proves that the tricks arranged by the old master still exist and haven't been cracked by the other sages. Hearing this, Xiaoping nodded and immediately felt relieved. If the treasure of the Myriad Stars sect was taken by others first, then he would suffer a big loss. Let's go in. Xiaoping immediately said. The Myriad Stars also started and quickly entered the planet, landing on the ground. At the same time, in another place on the 5 Elements planet, a group of people also arrived on this planet. On a boundless grassland, a huge spacetime gate suddenly appeared in the sky above the grassland. It was filled with strong spatial fluctuations, and the world's essence energy within a radius of hundreds of thousands of miles was completely devoured by this gate. Following that, this huge spatial gate flashed with light. One after another, figures flew out from this spatial gate. Their auras were extremely powerful. Some of them were Divine Realm cultivators, some were Treasure Refinement Realm cultivators, some were True Fire Realm cultivators, and there were even quite a number of Golden Core Realm cultivators. Whoosh whoosh whoosh. Half an hour later, countless silhouettes came out from the time-space gate. There were at least 3,000 people, and they seemed to be from 3 different forces. They were naturally divided into 3 regions. Is this a planet inside the dense fog star zone? A Golden Core Realm cultivator spoke. His divine sense was tyrannical, and it scanned the surrounding tens of thousands of kilometers. It was as if he wanted to understand the environment here. That should be it. This place contains such dense 5 elements essence energy that it's almost solid. It's definitely a blessed land that's rarely seen since ancient times. Other than a universe secret zone like the dense fog galaxy, there's no other place that can produce it. This is great. I didn't expect that we would have the chance to step into the dense fog star zone. You should know that this star zone is full of dangers. Even sages can get lost and don't dare to enter easily. We actually managed to use the power of the gate of time and space to enter one of the planets in the dense fog star zone. Actually, it's all thanks to a Tribulation Realm elder of the Black Heaven sect. His lifespan was almost up, and he entered the dense fog galaxy with the mentality of certain death in order to find the opportunity to break through to the sage level. Although he didn't find the opportunity to become a sage, he still found this 5 elements planet. Before he died, he even used the Black Heaven everlasting disintegration technique and burned all his life force to communicate with the sages of the sect, sending the spatial coordinates here. In the end, the great elders of the Black Heaven sect joined forces with the sages and immediately built a spatial gate to invade the dense fog galaxy. Otherwise, we wouldn't have the chance to enter this place. Indeed. It's all thanks to the senior's good fortune. It's better to be careful. Although we used the spatial gate to teleport to the dense fog galaxy, there's a mysterious and tyrannical power in the galaxy that even sages can't interfere with. The power of the spatial gate is very unstable. It can only teleport Golden Elixir Realm cultivators here at most. Cultivators that are slightly stronger won't be able to be teleported here because the spatial gate can't withstand such power and will completely collapse. That's right. After all, this is the dense fog galaxy. Who knows what will happen here? Many disciples of the Black Heaven sect were very cautious. After all, this was the famous dense fog galaxy. It was a forbidden place in the universe that no one had been able to leave in countless years. They were only at the Golden Elixir Realm. If they encountered a slightly stronger space beast, it would be able to easily kill them. They had no choice but to be cautious. There's no need to worry about that. A Golden Elixir elder of the Black Heaven sect said, "This planet has been explored by the elders of the Black Heaven sect. They sent back a lot of information." Although the 5 elemental spiritual chi is very dense and there are countless wild beasts living on this planet, the strongest ones are only at the Golden Elixir Realm. They're no match for the Black Heaven sect. Moreover, the sages have personally deduced that there's a 5 elemental sky dragon demon sealing formation here that conceals the planet's aura. It won't be discovered by the space beasts outside the fog. It's a safe zone in the dense fog galaxy. There's no need to worry about being killed by the beasts outside the fog. He comforted his fellow disciples. I've heard about this. It said that our mission on this planet is to find the spirit talisman that controls this 5-elemental sky dragon demon sealing formation. We'll take complete control of this formation and make it our own. Another golden elixir cultivator nodded. At the same time, we'll set up a space-time teleportation formation that connects to the headquarters of the Black Heaven sect. From now on, this place will belong to the Black Heaven sect as a training ground. It'll even become a stepping stone for the Black Heaven sect to explore the dense fog galaxy and obtain countless benefits. His eyes were burning with greed. Many disciples of the Black Heaven sect looked excited as well. After all, this was the dense fog galaxy. It was known as a forbidden place in the universe. Even sages did not dare to enter casually for fear of getting lost in the endless fog. It was said that this galaxy nurtured countless secret treasures that even sages would covet. Since ancient times, many forces had tried to enter the dense fog galaxy to explore, but they all failed and died without a burial. Chapter 1441. But why don't we take such a good place for ourselves? A disciple of the Shantian sect asked in confusion. Why did you invite Minuet Court and Juntian Church, two great saint-level sects, to explore this planet together? Isn't this giving away benefits to others? He looked at the people from the other two forces with dissatisfaction. There were 3 forces going to the planet this time, namely the Shantian sect, Minuet Court and Juntian Church. Each sect had sent 1,000 disciples. How stupid. This is the Fog Star Zone, known as the impasse of the universe. Even sages don't dare to enter without permission. Although we were lucky enough to find a safe place to stay, we can't take it lightly. A golden core cultivator scolded. He was one of the leaders of the Shantian sect this time. His name was Hao Xingguang, a famous golden core perfected master of the Shantian sect. Because of the special environment of this planet, space beasts can't come in. However, this place is rich in 5-element spirit chi and hundreds of billions of terrifying ancient beasts live here. Even if the strongest of these beasts is only at the golden core realm, they can crush people if they come in large numbers. There may be some unknown dangers that haven't appeared yet. Yes, we are the first group to come in. Our purpose is to open up a path, explore, and build an eternal space-time gate so that the next disciples of the Shantian sect can come in and out at any time. The problem is that the first group to come in is very dangerous. No one knows what will happen. Naturally, we need to drag some people down with us. They can be used as cannon fodder at critical moments. He scolded this junior brother through telepathy. I see. Senior brother, you plan to use the disciples of Minuet Court and Juntian Church as cannon fodder. I understand. The disciple of the Shantian sect suddenly understood. He also understood some of the thoughts of the sect. Of course, that's not the only goal of our sect. Hao Xingguang continued. After all, the Shantian sect is considered a righteous sect. Sharing this news will show our magnanimity. We can make friends with the other 2 sects and gain a lot of benefits. Most importantly, the Fog Star Zone is too dangerous. Occupying this planet is only the first step. The next step is to explore and occupy the entire Fog Star Zone. The benefits and risks involved are too great. Our mysterious Heaven sect alone can't handle it. We need the help of the other 2 sections. Only then will we be foolproof. He revealed many of the plans of the Shantian sect. Alright, stop talking nonsense. At this moment, a man in green said, let's set off immediately and obtain the 5 elemental spirit talismans of this planet. We'll have complete control over the 5 elemental sky dragon demon sealing formation here. He was the leader of the Shantian sect this time, a perfected being at the golden core realm. His name was Ronghang and he was extremely powerful. His divine sense spread out and reached the depths of everyone's soul. Yes, Senior Rong. One by one, the Black Heaven sect disciples shouted. In the distance, many disciples of the Juntian religion also came out of the time gate and gathered together. This place is really rich in 5-element spiritual chi. If I cultivate here, I'm sure I'll get twice the result with half the effort. A disciple of the Juntian religious sect exclaimed. He thought that this was a blessed enclave. Except for the headquarters of the Juntian religious sect, there was basically no other place on the planet that could compare with it. Many disciples appeared here, and all of them felt that their bottlenecks seemed to have loosened a lot, and all of them were overjoyed. I didn't expect the Dark Heaven sect to actually find a way to enter the dense fog galaxy. What a lucky bastard. Another disciple of the Juntian religious sect lamented. As long as we control this planet and build a time gate, We can immediately use this place as a springboard to enter the dense fog galaxy. We'll be able to obtain endless benefits in this universe's secret realm. I heard that there are treasures in the dense fog galaxy that even sages are tempted by. I wonder what they are. I didn't expect the people of the Black Heaven sect to be so generous. They're actually willing to join forces with us to explore this dense fog galaxy. Generous my ass. I don't know what these people are thinking. They clearly think that this dense fog galaxy is extremely dangerous, and they want to use us as cannon fodder. But this is also an overt plot. After all, this is the dense fog galaxy and there are great benefits here. Even if they want us to be cannon fodder, we can't refuse this invitation. It is indeed an overt plot. Those bastards are certain that we won't be willing to give up such benefits. But it's not that easy to trick us. No one is stupid. If they clearly want us to die, we won't be so stupid as to obediently go to our deaths. In any case, we need to be careful. These people from the Black Heaven sect aren't that good. Right? Should we cooperate with those women from Minuet Court? They might be plotted against by the Black Heaven sect as well. Cooperate my ass. Those women from Minuet Court might be lovers of the Black Heaven sect's disciples. If we cooperate with Minuet Court, wouldn't that be asking a tiger for its skin? Don't be stupid. Tell our brothers to be careful. Don't fall into the Black Heaven sect's trap. Many disciples of the Great Sky sect discussed among themselves. They communicated with each other through their divine senses and did not let the Black Heaven sect and Minuet Court know what they were planning. Although they were very vigilant, they still appeared to be on good terms with the disciples of the other two sects on the surface, as if they were brothers. After all, they would not reveal their true feelings before they shed all pretense of cordiality. The disciples of Minuet Court were basically all female. Although not all of them were heavenly beauties, their beauty was below average. They were charming and had the temperament of an immortal. However, although these disciples of Minuet Court were all female, they were no weaker than any male disciple when it came to actual combat. In fact, they were even more ferocious to a certain extent. The male disciples of the Black Heaven sect and the Great Sky sect glanced at the place from time to time with expressions of admiration. However, even though the disciples of Minuet Court were all outstanding, there were two among them who stood out from the rest. Even Golden Elixir Realm cultivators could not overshadow their brilliance. One was as cold as ice and emitted a terrifying chill. She was like a 1,000-year-old snow lotus on the heavenly mountain, beautiful and cold. The other was incomparably charming like a 1,000-year-old fox. Her every move exuded a seductive aura. Any man who saw her could not help but fall in love with her and be at her beck and call. If Xia Ping was here, he would definitely be able to recognize these two women. They were Qiushu and Su Mei, who had joined Minuet Court not long ago. The two of them had also arrived at Five Elements Planet and joined the operation this time. Their cultivation had also improved by leaps and bounds compared to when they were in the cloud world. They had advanced to the peak of the divine power realm and were only a step away from advancing to the treasure refining realm. Chapter 1442. Are these the disciples of Minuet Court? They really are fairies. If I could marry a disciple of Minuet Court, my life would not have been in vain. You wish. Everyone knows that the disciples of Minuet Court are proud and arrogant. They look down on anyone who isn't a genius of the sect, let alone ordinary disciples like us. However, among this group of girls, the most beautiful one is none other than that Qiushu. She is simply like a fairy in the mortal world, otherworldly and breathtakingly beautiful. It is said that the number of disciples pursuing Qiushu can't even fit on a planet. She's also very talented. She just joined Minuet Court 2 years ago, and now she's at the peak of the transcendent state. It's said that the great elder of Minuet Court recognizes her, and she's about to be accepted as a disciple of a saint. She'll definitely be a holy maiden of Minuet Court in the future. Qiushu is still too cold. She's as cold as ice. Su Mei is still better. She's charming, passionate, and has a hot body. She's simply a stunner. She's a good choice for a Tao companion. To be honest, I'd be willing to shorten my life by 1,000 years if I could sleep with her. Stop dreaming. Su Mei is not simple either. She's a genius on par with Qiushu, and has become the focus of Minuet Court's training. It's said that Rong Hang, a golden core perfected master from Xintian sect, is also pursuing her, but was rejected. That's right. We shouldn't dream about a holy maiden like her. Let's pursue other girls, at least we'll have a chance. Even if we can't get the best woman, we can at least be a little inferior. The disciples of the Shantian sect and the Juntian sect were engaged in a heated discussion as they looked at the disciples of Mingyue court. Each of them was judging the disciples of Mingyue court and looking at their targets. It seemed that they wanted to take advantage of this opportunity to deepen their relationship. Naturally, many of the disciples of Mingyue court heard this, and they all frowned. What a bunch of disgusting men. They can't talk about anything else when they get together. What do they mean by you can't get the best woman? We're fine with a little inferior. Who do you think we are? Unwanted defective goods? A disciple of Mingyue court was very displeased. She looked at Qiushu and Su Mei with an unfriendly expression, thinking that this was all the fault of these two women. They're just two shameless vixens. I don't know why they're being pursued by so many people. Just because they cultivate a bit faster and know how to please the patriarch, they've become arrogant? It's disgusting. That's right. She's just a newbie who's only been in Mingyue court for 2 years, and yet she's acting like the holy maiden of Mingyue court. Who gave them the courage to do so? So many senior sisters haven't said anything yet, how could it be their turn? That's how thick-skinned people are. These two women are quite scheming. It's better to be careful. Such women might stab you in the back at any time. It's said that these two women are quite shameless. They rely on their beauty to hook up with men everywhere and even ask for cultivation resources from these men. God knows how many people they've deceived. So that's how it is. I was wondering how these two country bumpkins with no background and no taste could cultivate so quickly. It turns out that they relied on selling their bodies to seduce men. You can't say that. This is his physical advantage after all. Although it's a little underhanded, it's still a good move. How can someone like this become the holy maiden of Mingyue court? She's more like a prostitute. Many female disciples of Mingyue court sneered. They looked at Qiushu and Su Mei with disdain. They didn't even use their divine consciousness to speak directly. They made it clear that these words were spoken for Qiushu and Su Mei to hear. Their words were full of hostility. Where there are people, there's society. Su Mei chuckled. I thought these aliens would be more broad-minded, but I didn't expect them to be such despicable people. They maliciously slander people behind their backs. They're no different from the natives. She was very calm and didn't care at all. She had experienced this kind of thing countless times when she was in the cloud realm. Some gossip couldn't hurt her at all. Instead, it made her feel like she was watching a bunch of clowns. They're just some boring people. Don't worry about them. Just do our job. Qiushu said indifferently. A trace of coldness emanated from her body. She didn't care about anything else. She quietly stayed where she was and cultivated. In fact, she knew this kind of thing very well. When they first entered Mingyue court, they weren't targeted by so many people. However, as the two of them displayed their talents and made rapid progress, they attracted the attention of many elders in the sect. A great ancestor of Mingyue court even said that if they could complete the mission to explore the dense fog star zone and come back alive, she would accept them as her disciples. As soon as these words came out, countless disciples were in an uproar. They were full of envy and jealousy. After all, there was a limit to the number of disciples a saint could have. If she accepted these two as disciples, the others wouldn't have a chance. This was simply blocking the path of others. Therefore, many people in Mingyue court began to target the two of them. Many rumors appeared, trying to isolate the two of them. If Qiushu and Su Mei had a powerful background and a large family backing them, perhaps the disciples of Mingyue court wouldn't dare to go too far. The problem was that the two of them were natives with no background at all. They immediately became easy targets. After all, even if they were bullied, they wouldn't suffer any retaliation. Although they were brought back by an elder of Mingyue court, that was all there was to it. They were neither relatives nor friends. It was impossible for the elder to help the two of them with all his strength. Therefore, it was only natural that they would be targeted. You can't say that. The tree wants peace, but the wind won't stop. Su Mei narrowed her eyes. I've received some news that some people in Mingyue court don't want us to come back alive. Be careful, they might do something behind our backs. There's such a thing? Where did you get this news? Qiushu asked curiously. Well, they have their own ways. Many little cuties will automatically report this information. Su Mei giggled and put on an innocent look. She had definitely threatened a lot of people. Qiushu was speechless. She knew Su Mei's character very well. She would do anything to achieve her goals. She also liked to threaten others with their weaknesses. She was extremely sinister. She guessed that many disciples of Minuet court had fallen victim to Su Mei's evil schemes during this time. Perhaps these rumors and slanders were partly due to Su Mei. Forget it. Anyway, we just have to be careful this time. No matter how arrogant these people are, they won't dare to do anything to us and break the rules, Qiushu said in a low voice. If that's the case, then that's for the best. Su Mei's beautiful eyes revealed a trace of coldness. She seemed to have inadvertently seen some malicious gazes. Chapter 1443. Dong. The stars landed on a flat ground and Xiaoping walked out of the spaceship. This is the Five Elements planet. It's really rich in five elements spiritual qi. It's indeed a blessed place. Xiaoping could sense the richness of the spiritual qi on this planet. It was extraordinary. It was impossible for an ordinary planet to have such rich spiritual qi. It was purely because this planet was a Gaia that could automatically absorb the cosmic energy in the depths of the void to nourish its body. This resulted in the extraordinary richness of the spiritual qi on this planet. Moreover, this was just a young Gaia. If it was a saint-level Gaia, its richness of spiritual qi would be something even a planet like Jianghu planet could not compare to. The living beings living on Gaia planet were all extremely powerful and had astonishing bloodlines. This? Xiaoping's eyes lit up. His divine senses sensed that the surrounding environment was different from an ordinary planet. It was full of vitality. It seemed like every mountain, every rock, every plant, and even every speck of dust had signs of life and the aura of a soul. He knew that these dead things did not have souls. It was purely Gaia's consciousness. It covered every corner of this planet like a god, having absolute control over every place. If this Gaia's consciousness was not sealed by the five elements dragon-demon sealing formation, it could probably activate the entire planet's energy with a single thought and blast him into dust. Ah! Unbelievable. Xiaoping felt that the golden crow of hell bloodline in his body seemed to throb. It faintly resonated with this planet as if it was one with it. He suddenly recalled that the golden crow of hell was also a sun, a star. It was actually a different kind of Gaia. Perhaps he had the same bloodline as the Gaia race. However, the golden crow of hell slowly evolved from a divine bird to a supreme existence, while Gaia was born as a planet. Although their starting points were different, they reached the same goal through different means. Buzz buzz, it was as if a great life in the depths of this planet had also sensed Xiaoping's aura. It gradually woke up, and waves of incredible waves appeared in the void. However, before it could do anything, one formation after another suppressed it. Countless order chains appeared, instantly suppressing it and causing it to fall into a deep sleep. Gaia is awake? Xiaoping was shocked. At the same time, he also sensed an unfathomable spiritual sense force sweeping over, affecting the entire planet. Apart from Gaia, no one else could possess such a spiritual sense force. This Gaia must belong to me. Thinking of this, he clenched his fists, and his eyes revealed a hint of a fiery glow. If he could get a Gaia as a companion, it would be an unparalleled help. Corinne, where is the Five Elements Temple? Xiaoping immediately asked. He wanted to find the Five Elements Spirit Talisman as soon as possible and quickly control the Five Elements Heavenly Dragon Sealing Great Formation. 800 miles ahead, there is a Metal Elemental Temple. There is a Metal Elemental Talisman inside. Immortal Cat said. The reason why it docked the myriad stars at this place was because there was a Five Elements Temple nearby. However, you have to be careful. Every Five Elements Temple contains rich Five Elements spiritual qi. This kind of spiritual qi will attract powerful savage beasts and become their nest. If you want to get close to that temple and get the Metal Elemental Talisman, you have to cross the protection of these savage beasts. Otherwise, you won't be able to get the Metal Elemental Talisman. It reminded Xiaoping that there was a certain degree of danger. Okay, got it. Xiaoping nodded and was about to set off, but before he could move, swoosh, swoosh. Immediately, dozens of figures flew over from a distance, and in the blink of an eye, they arrived in front of Xiaoping. These figures had powerful auras and they were at least at the divine power realm. The strongest among them had reached the early golden core realm. They exuded an aura like the scorching sun from head to toe. They were high and mighty, invincible, and could not be ignored. It was just that these people were dressed strangely. All of them wore animal skins and were barefoot like primitive people. Lost people. Xiaoping narrowed his eyes and stared at these uninvited guests in front of him. He had obtained a lot of information from the lost battleship and knew that there were many lost people living on this planet. However, this did not mean that these lost people were good people. In fact, in a place like the dense fog star field where danger lurked everywhere and ferocious savage beasts were everywhere, good people could not survive. In order to survive and for food, there were many people who would stab others in the back. Even in such a special environment, the lost people had reverted to slavery. The strong had everything and the weak could only become slaves, living a life worse than death. In fact, there were also some lost people who could not stand such a life, so they risked their lives to leave the Five Elements planet, hoping to find a way to leave the dense fog star field. Young man. A middle-aged man with a scar on his face said, "If I'm not wrong, you should be a newbie who accidentally entered the dense fog star field and got lucky to come to this planet." "Oh, so what if I am?" Xia Ping raised his eyebrows and looked at the scarred man. This man was at the early Golden Core realm, and he was probably the leader of this group of lost people. He was powerful and the person who posed the greatest threat to Xia Ping. There was a difference of one level between the True Fire realm and the Golden Core realm. The True Fire realm was just a process of condensing the spirit fire to advance to the Golden Core realm. Compared to the Golden Core realm, it was like heaven and earth. In order to step into the Golden Core realm, one had to integrate all the divine power arrays in one's body and smelt them into a golden core. Once the golden core was condensed, all the divine power would be condensed and terrifying power could be exerted. Every move would have the power to shake the stars. Even in a saint-level sect, Golden Core realm cultivators were considered experts and could become elders. Moreover, Golden Core realm cultivators could self-destruct their golden core, producing a power that was more terrifying than a nuclear bomb. Even cultivators who were a level stronger than the Golden Core realm would not dare to fight against such power easily. Therefore, condensing the Golden Core was considered to have a little bit of power to survive in the universe. Ordinary people would not dare to provoke them easily. After all, the power that a Golden Core realm cultivator could release when he went all out was rather terrifying. I believe you know that this is the dense fog star field. Once you enter this place, it's impossible to leave. The scarred middle-aged man looked at Xia Ping. Moreover, this place is full of danger. There are wild beasts living everywhere. If you're alone, you'll become the wild beast's food within 3 days. As long as you're willing to join our tribe, I can provide you with a certain degree of protection so that you can survive in this world. What do you think? That you're tuning in to the Han Li's Wuxia Adventures YouTube channel. We're so grateful for your support and don't forget to subscribe to join us on this incredible journey through captivating stories. Your generosity through donations truly makes a world of difference, as it's the primary source of revenue that allows me to expand and enhance this channel for you. Thank you from the bottom of my heart for being a part of this adventure.